The palm trees of Miami Beach. The Mets blew their way into town last night and got themselves a shutout victory. Mets hope for better things ahead. 2 straight wins and looking for more as they visit the spaceship that is Marlins Park. At Marlins Park in Miami, Florida, the New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Miami. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play Game 2 of their 4-game series against the Marlins. Last night, the Mets offense, which is in desperate need of help, got David Wright's 2nd home run in the last 3 days. Signs of life for the Mets captain.
Well, off the rookie, Andrew Heaney made the one mistake of the game to David Wright, a bomb right there. David's 6th home run of the year, as Gary said. His 2nd on this trip, and he hadn't hit a home run on the road this season. The Mets, as you know, have been struggling as a team offensively, and David has been in a very prolonged slump, and these are good signs of David coming out of it. They need his bat. Any lineup, their 3 and 4 hitters have to be productive, and David's been in the longest slump of his career. Looks like he's starting to come out.
And while the Mets offense has struggled, their starting pitching has been their strength all year, but the last 2 days it has been spectacular.
Well, the 2 performances there from Colon and Wheeler, awesome. I think I have to wonder, Gary, if you got the heavy Colon at 41 years of age, who threw 8 innings and wanted to go 9 in a very hot, sultry day in St. Louis. If that wasn't a little bit of a prod to the young guys, and Wheeler followed suit, going to the complete game. So Colon maybe showing a little leadership there with his performance on the field.
On the mound tonight for the Mets, it'll be Daisuke Matsuzaka, whose last start Sunday was aborted by illness.
Well, this is his 5th start, 17 relief appearances. He's been outstanding, 3-0 on the year. Outstanding earned run average. As Gary said, a Sunday start. He left after 1 inning with the stomach cramps. Threw an inning of relief in St. Louis on Tuesday. Now he's in line for his start here. 41 2/3 innings pitched, only 22 hits. Opponents hitting 156 off Daisuke. Lifetime against Miami, 1-0 in 4 games. 2 of them were starts.
And he made a relief outing Tuesday in St. Louis to get ready for this start. Now, with Jose Fernandez down for the year, Henderson Alvarez has been the Miami ace so far this year.
Well, I tell you what, he's 3-3 on the year with an ERA of 2.56. All 3 of his wins have been shutouts, complete game shutouts. One of them, in fact, against the Mets back in April right here in this ballpark. He's a ground ball pitcher. They got him in a big trade from Toronto. He's looking to get on the snide here and get to a winning record of 4-3.
So it's the Mets and the Marlins, Game 2 of 4. All the action coming your way tonight right here on SNY. Geico. By Honda. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda now at your Honda dealer. And by Citi. Every time the Mets hit a home run at Citi Field, Citi will make a $2,000 donation to a local community partner, courtesy of the Citi Thank You Program. Track donations at Mets.com/Citi. Celebrate our nation's independence at Citi Field Friday, July 4th with a post-game fireworks show presented by Citi, following the Mets game against the Rangers at 7:10 p.m. For tickets, visit Mets.com/fireworks. Let's take a look at today's throw of the game moment, brought to you by Pepsi. Live for now. Look at the look in that child's eyes. Talk about worshiping your heroes and feeling just wonderful about yourself. That is a priceless moment.
Very nice. Curtis?
Anderson Alvarez making his way in for the Marlins. He shut the Mets out the last time he faced them. Mets will try and do better tonight as they look for their third straight. First pitch coming up. The fifth straight game after coming off the disabled list. Bobby Abreu, after a couple of days off, right back in the lineup again as the Mets take on Henderson Alvarez for the third time this season.
Well, we mentioned Alvarez, a 6 foot, 203-pound right-hander from Venezuela, Valencia, Venezuela. The 3 wins are from shutouts. He keeps the ball down. He is a ground ball pitcher. Throw strikes, only the 18 walks you notice there. And, of course, he threw that, 6-hit shutout here in April against the Mets.
EY's 5 for 15 in the 4 games since he came off the disabled list. Had himself a leadoff infield hit in the game last night. The first pitch that Henderson Alvarez throws, he always uses that exaggerated step forward and step back. He only does it once the entire game, but it's something he's been doing since he was a young pitcher.
He learned that from somebody. Good luck charm.
Murphy and Wright to follow. And Young takes the fastball outside, 1-1.
Young got on base twice last night, 1 for 3 in the night with a walk, which is what you want from your leadoff man.
Mets had just 6 hits last night. They've scored only 4 runs the last 2 games, but won them both with great pitching. Easy hop for call to play, and that's the first out of the night.
And we'll take a look at the Marlin defense. Brought to you by Coors Light, of course. Nothing's changed there. The same lineup out there in that outfield. Jake Marisnick replacing Christian Yelich on the DL. Furcal just back in the lineup. The veteran at second base, not shortstop. And Saltalamacchia, excuse me, behind the plate, just off the DL also.
6 syllables in Saltalamacchia.
Yes, and you got Echevarria at shortstop. That's another tongue twister.
That's only 5 syllables.
That's a toughie, though.
Now on Sunday, the Marlins will have Anthony DeSclafani pitching to Jarrett Saltalamacchia.
That's quite a battery.
1-1 to Murphy. It was 2 for 4 last night. Murphy at .297 for the year. 88 hits. That's third in the league. 45 runs scored is in the top 10 as well. And he slaps one the other way through the 5.5 hole. And Murphy has himself a 1-out hit.
Well, Murph just continues his consistent hitting. Really hasn't had too many. That's too many strings. I'd like to. That's a good sinker right there, and that's what you're going to get if you're a left-hander. Your approach off of, you see Murph, let him go with one hand because he's a little bit out in front. But when you got a right-hand sinker baller like Alvarez, that's his bread and butter. You can look out there and you're going to get it.
So here is Wright to deliver the only run of the game last night with a first-inning home run against Andrew Heaney, the third batter that Heaney faced in the major leagues. That was all the scoring and all that Zach Wheeler needed. Now there have been a lot of stats thrown around in the wake of Wheeler's game last night and Wright hitting the home run. Here's my favorite. The last time, in fact the only time before last night, the Mets had ever had a first-inning home run in a 1-0 game where the pitcher pitched a complete game shutout was in 1983 when Danny Heap homered in the first inning against the Expos, and Walt Terrell went the distance for a 1-0 win.
That was the first game of a doubleheader. It was at Shea, and I do not remember that game. I was there. It was October 2nd, so I was there.
Right at the end of the season.
Yep.
Your first half year with the Mets. You were already thinking about, should I re-sign here? What do I want to stay? I like it here?
I was just punching the time clock, 1 foot on the bus.
Well, Wheeler was spectacular last night. I mean, there's no two ways about it. He was in firm command, faced only one batter over the minimum, which is rarely done. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Some of the particulars last night. Youngest pitcher for the Mets with a 1-0 shutout since Doc Gooden, who had 2 of those at age 20 in 1985. Youngest with a 1-0 shutout, 3 hits or fewer in 41 years since John Matlack. It just gives you an idea how dominant he was last night. And he came within 1 batter of becoming the first Met pitcher ever to throw a complete game 9-inning performance where he faced only 27 batters. No Met has ever done that. Gave up a 2-out single in the 9th to Reed Johnson that spoiled that 27 batter performance.
Mets turned 3 double plays last night for him.
3-1 to Wright with Murphy at first and 1 out. Alvarez walks very few, 1.8 walks per 9 innings, and David fouls back the fastball, 3-2. David was in such a deep slump for so long. It's been encouraging the last few days to see him drive the ball. He had a home run and a double on Tuesday. He had the home run in the first inning yesterday.
And you know what, Gary, a veteran that you are and the success that David's had in his career offensively, it's still, when a team collectively struggles, it affects everybody.
Murphy not running, and Wright grounds one to third. Not too hard hit. McGee's going to go to first with it and get the out there as Murphy moves up. Surprised against a guy like Alvarez, who was not a strikeout pitcher, that you wouldn't put Murphy in motion there, but it turned out not to matter. So the runner in scoring position with 2 out, and Curtis Granderson coming up. Granderson 1 for 3 and a walk last night. He continues to get on base twice every day. Last 15 games, his on base percentage is a spectacular .491. And
Curtis takes a fastball for a strike.
And you can see the defense here. And you know what? If I'm McGee at third base, if Murph wants to steal third, steal it. I'd get over in the shortstop's position and give him third base. Get a little more in the hole because Curtis is a dead pull hitter. Be very curious to see his approach off Alvarez. See if Curtis goes the other way a little bit here, maybe over the shortstop's head on that good hard sinker that he throws.
Well, you see how Granderson has picked it up as the season has gone along. Better in May, outstanding in June after a very difficult month of April. Alvarez ahead of him 0-2. And he takes it, call third strike, and that gets Alvarez through the top of the first. First strikeout for Henderson Alvarez. Daisuke Matsuzaka heads for the mound. From his teammates, a little bow from Josh Edgin.
Very respectful.
Goal for Daisuke tonight is to keep it down. Hyundai starting lineup for the Marlins tonight. Same 8 players in the lineup, but a little shuffle by Mike Redmond after they got shut out last night. He moves Danny Echeverria into the 2-hole where he had some success last week. Moves Marisnik down to 8 as Daisuke makes his 5th start of the year.
Well, we mentioned in the open Daisuke's numbers, the hits compared to the innings pitched, but we didn't touch on the walks. The 30 walks is a little troublesome, but look at his whip. Look at the opponent's batting average. He has just been terrific. He was very disappointed not making the ball club coming out of spring. He pitched very well. Didn't win the job. Mejia got the job. But he went down to the minors. He's back up. They put him in relief. And he did his job, and now he's in the rotation. He's been rewarded.
He's only had a couple of bad outings all year. One of them came here in relief when he couldn't retire a batter. He had a tough start in Chicago, but other than that, he's been awfully reliable this year. Rafael Furcal leads things off.
Well, he did not even get anybody out in that appearance here. That was the Mets got swept, and he came in with a lead to protect, and he gave up the lead.
Furcal 0 for 4 last night, just his 7th game back from a long stint on the disabled list. And he takes a strike at the knees. Tommy John surgery kept him from playing at all last year. Then he had a hamstring. He had a groin problem.
It's called getting old.
Yeah, well, Furcal 36 now, not the dynamic player he once was. In the air to right field, chasing Abreu back onto the warning track, and he can't make the play. It's off the fence. Granderson comes over to back up. Furcal trying for 3, and he'll make it standing up with his first extra base hit of the season, a triple.
Well, only his 30th at bat of this season, and here we are almost halfway through. Gets a fastball down and in, and boy, he turns on it. And Abreu, too high up the wall for him to get to. Might have been better served to play it off the wall. Better left-hand hitter than right-hand hitter, and not running like he used to run. Still pretty good, but he used to fly. I'll take it.
So a leadoff triple for Furcal. Mets will play the infield back with Danny Echeverria at the plate.
The only guy in is David Wright at the infield cut the grass.
And that'll get the run home. Murphy to his right. The off-balance toss dug out nicely by Duda as Furcal comes home with the game's first run. 1-0 Miami. So Echeverria drives in the run, his 16th of the year, and just like that, Marlins have their first run of the series.
Well, Murph had a chance just to set himself and make the throw. Instead, chooses to throw with his back momentum going away from first base, and Duda just makes a beautiful scoop.
I think that's one of those where Murphy maybe gave too much credit to Echeverria and his running speed. Here's Stanton taking a strike. Echeverria he's not slow, but he's not as fast as Furcal or Juan Lagares or somebody else like that going down the line. And Stanton takes inside, a ball and a strike. Stanton 0 for 3 last night, struck out a couple of times and then flied out in his last at bat against Wheeler.
Well, Stanton has 80 strikeouts on the year. And they're going to stay inside, Gare. And you can't let a big guy like him. Again, I will go back to Homer. Achilles. You got to pitch him inside.
Slider in for a strike, and it's 2-2.
This is a slider meant to be on the outside corner. Look at it, backs up. Starts out inside. Probably started at the hip of Stanton and froze him.
Recker sets up inside. 2-2 from Daisuke, and it's away, and it's hit out to right. Another tough play for Abreu, but this one he's able to run down for the second out. So Daisuke missing his location on a couple of pitches during that at bat, but still gets Stanton out.
Very level swing from Stanton, just out enough. That is just a matter of a couple inches over the plate. It might have been out. And we'll take a quick look at the Lexus Metropolitan defense. Abreu back in the lineup with the right-hander out there giving him another bat. The Mets struggling to score runs. Tejada at shortstop again. Recker back in the lineup tonight.
Now Casey McGee, who had one of the 3 Miami hits last night, went 1 for 2 and a walk.
You got very upset at home plate umpire Ed Hickok last night on a called third strike late in the ball game.
It's the only time he was retired last night.
That was in the 8th inning, leading off the 8th. It's a big strikeout for Wheeler. Oh, nice curve
ball by Daisuke, and it's 1-1.
There's Ed. I thought it was a strike and too close to take.
And I'll say this, Hickox had a lot of patience.
He did.
Because McGee talked for a long time.
He did.
And Hickox let him talk.
If you don't swear, they can't run you.
Well, technically, you're not allowed to argue balls and strikes. Right?
Well, you can.
Right. There's a limit to everything.
You got to know your umpires, and I agree. Ed handled that beautifully.
I mean, if you really weren't allowed to argue balls and strikes, Bobby Cox would have been thrown out of every game he managed.
In the dugout.
Right.
He was the biggest carper of umpires.
Every pitch.
Oh.
Every pitch.
All over them.
By the way, his team's got a lot of calls. 1-2 coming to McGee. And splitter misses low. 2-2.
So this is a predominantly right-hand hitting lineup the Marlins are throwing out there. They miss Yelich, of course. He's a left-hand hitter. Only lefties are Garrett Jones and the switch hitting for Cal.
And Salt Lamacchia.
Oh, that's right. Jeez,
Breaking ball, strike 3 called. McGee caught looking. Daisuke has his first strikeout. Marlins get a run after Furcal's triple and lead it 1-0 after 1.
I didn't use my slider that much, but when I did, it was a good pitch for me. And, I was able to get my curveball over for the most part. And changeup was a big part today. I don't think I've shown it at the Stanton before. And I finally threw one to him. It was a good pitch, so changeup was a big helper for me today.
Everything was working indeed for Zach Wheeler last night.
Interesting that he said that the changeup was large, because I only counted a handful of changeups in the game, but I think he got a couple pretty big outs with it.
Well, when he threw it to the right-hand batter, to Stanton, that first time up, I thought that's obviously a big step for him.
What he's got to realize is that he threw it a handful of times, and what did he do? He has steady diet of power pitching, and then you mix in a big situation, you throw the changeup and you make the pitch, it catches the hitter by surprise. Don't fall in love with it. It's his third pitch.
Bobby Abreu leading off in the second inning. Bobby had started 7 straight games until he sat both Wednesday and last night, so you have to be very careful, I think, if you're Terry Collins, to avoid overusing Abreu at this point.
He's 0 for 7 on this trip. He's slowed down a tad. He's way in front of the plate.
Alvarez ahead of him 0-2, and he fouls back another one. Abreu making his 20th start. Now, the Mets offense, the Mets outfield, is going to change drastically once Juan Lagares gets back. And Lagares played his first game on rehab this afternoon for the Gulf Coast League Mets down in St. Lucie. Went 0 for 4, played 7 innings in center field. And certainly possible the Mets will have Lagares back sometime next week.
Oh, good. Did you see the bottom drop off on that one? It's not a strike, Gary, but my word, that is late sink. Look at this. Wow.
Well, that's why he gets so many ground balls, which is really a bigger part of Alvarez's game than the strikeout. He averages 5.7 strikeouts per 9 innings, which in this day and age is a very low number, with strikeout rates higher in Major League Baseball than they've ever been before. Here's Duda with 1 out and nobody on, and Lucas cracks one to deep left center field. Back goes Ozuna deep in the gap, and this ball is caught right on the warning track. Ozuna took an odd path to that ball, but able to reel it in for a long second out.
It's a big ballpark here. It's 386 out there in that gap. Those were the gaps that I got my feet wet in the big leagues in Old Busch Stadium. And if you can recall, Gary, in the old Astrodome, it was 396 in the gaps. That was a monstrous ballpark.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Anthony Recker, who has really hit the skids offensively, just 3 for his last 32, and has lost more and more playing time to Taylor Teagarden in recent days.
Well, what's troublesome is the 37 strikeouts what Anthony has in 98 at bats. It's a lot of strikeouts. Tough job when you're playing sporadically.
And the very slow curve from Alvarez. He'll throw that 3 or 4 times a game. That it's almost an eephus curveball.
He gets a little cute with it.
Yeah.
I tell him to bag it myself. Stick with the hard sinker, hard slider, and change up.
And he throws another one.
So a hanging slider right there.
Ruben Tejada would be next. The thing about Recker and the strikeouts, you know, he's got big power, and every once in a while he'll make contact and hit it a mile. And I would imagine if you don't play every day, as Anthony doesn't, as he hits it out to center, the temptation has got to be to try and hit everything out of the ballpark.
Well, you got to stay away from that.
Let's go down 1-2-3 against Alvarez in the second. 1-0 Miami. are celebrating teachers in your community. Vote for the teacher who will represent the Mets at the 2014 All-Star Game July 15th at allstarteachers.com. Let's look at downtown Miami, and we seg right to the cotton candy just to make Keith's mouth not water.
Look at her. Your fingers are going to be so sticky, young lady.
And do you think she'll care a whit?
And you can try to lick it off, all that sugar, and it's not going to come off.
Well, at least when she gets the blue on her shirt, it'll match. Jared Saltalamacchia leads off and drives one deep to center field, well beyond the reach of Granderson. Saltalamacchia with a leadoff extra base hit, pulls it at second base with a double. So Furcal led off the first inning with a triple, and Saltalamacchia hitting it just as well, leads off the second with a double.
Well, Saltalamacchia just off the DL. First pitch fastball hitting. He likes that ball down. That's around belt high. Big power swing. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Terry Kennedy. Terry Kennedy's swing. The old catcher came up with the Cardinals when I was there and traded over a big trade to San Diego, where he played most of his career behind the plate for the Pods.
Terry is Bob Kennedy's son,
yes, right? Bob Kennedy Sr. I have nothing but fond memories of Mr. Kennedy.
There's Garrett Jones, 3 infielders stacked on the right side, and he takes a strike. Jones 0 for 3 last night.
Bob Kennedy Sr. was the farm director when I was in the minor leagues, and he was a no-nonsense guy. He was tough love, not like today. He did not pat you on the back. He prodded and pushed you.
Think tough love's out of fashion now?
I do. You're being facetious.
I don't know. I watch every once in a while. I watch the Scared Straight videos. That's a little tough love, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm out of touch.
Scared Straight is where they send
old school,
old ex-cons into prison to talk to the current.
I got better things to do. But you go. You feel free to go watch it.
Jones hitting at 261. And he hits one out to left field, and Eric Young is right there. And staying at second, Saltalamacchia, 1 out.
Very interesting. Garrett Jones, Deadpool hitter. Situation where want to look for something to pull and doesn't do it. The target's inside. Look at him missing on the other side of the plate, Garrett. That's on a fastball.
Yeah, Daisuke is not sharp at all in the early going here. Remember that he pitched just an inning on Sunday in that start against San Diego before he had to leave with the upset stomach. Then they brought him back for an inning Tuesday in St. Louis. But early in this outing, he is not hitting his spots at all. Here's Marcelo Zuna, 0 for 3 last night.
They moved him down a notch in the order.
And the curveball in for a strike.
And I think it was wisely done because Osuna's a free swinger, 77 strikeouts on the year. And a breaking ball pitcher like Daisuke is going to could give him fits. But he's going to be hacking. He's got a chance. I like this guy.
Daisuke runs one inside, 1-1. Jake Marisnick dropped to the 8th spot tonight, is on deck. Meanwhile, the top 2 teams in the division, the Nats and the Braves, at it again tonight in D.C. And Freddie Freeman homered in the first inning against Steven Strasburg. The Braves just do not lose to the Nationals. The last 30 games between those 2 teams, the Braves have won 23 of 30. Easy hop for Tejada. Takes his time and throws out Ozuna for the second out as Saltalamacchia holds at second.
Wow, just a little bit of a look back from Tejada that it wasn't necessary. Saltalamacchia, he doesn't run well, wasn't going anywhere, made it a closer play than it should have been. But I think Ruben had it understood exactly where it was at, where the runner was. And I tell you what, Ozuna busted down the line.
So 2 out and a runner at second. We'll see how the Mets go after Marisnick here. You got Henderson Alvarez, who's a pretty good hitting pitcher on deck, and Marisnick, who's making only his 5th start of the year at the plate. So the Mets are not going to walk him intentionally. Marisnick 5 for 17 since he's been called up. 0 for 3 last night against Wheeler. And takes the curveball high.
A lot of guys took overs last night against Wheeler.
Yeah, most of them. Well, there were only 3 hits, only 2 from the starting lineup. McGee had 1, Saltalamacchia had 1, and then the pinch hitter Reed Johnson had a base hit in the 9th, and that was it.
Well, that interview, the inning prior, with coming out of the break with Wheeler, it's pretty indicative of the kind of personality that he has. That was after the game where he threw his first complete game shutout, and he just like a bump on a log.
I think he expects big things, Keith. I think that while he's been troubled by some recent performance, and now the Mets will intentionally walk Marisnick, I think that he expects to be a very successful major league pitcher, and I think he handled both the failure and the success with aplomb, which is, I think, is to his credit.
I always like pitchers that are very calm, cool, and collected on the mound. I think they have to be really contained more than any other player on the field. That and the catcher. Catcher can't get emotionally involved too. He's got to separate his hitting woes because he's got to call a game.
So here's Alvarez, who's a lifetime .250 hitter. No easy mark. Batting with 2 on and 2 out. Marlins already up 1-0 in the second.
He's 5 for 25 this year, 200 batting average. Takes a rip.
Well, he's a good athlete. He fields his position well. He bunts well. He's a good hitter. The Marlins certainly picked up a haul when they made that big trade with Toronto 2 winters ago. They got Marisnick in that deal. They got their shortstop Echeverria. They got Alvarez. They got Anthony DeSclafani, who's going to start here Sunday.
Yep.
They all came in that trade. Right backs off to play the hop, and Alvarez is not running. I mean, barely jogging. And that retires the side. At least he dropped the bat. We go to the third in Miami, 1-0 Marlins. And photo of the game. Tweet or Instagram your photo using hashtag SNYFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown later tonight during the game. We had another baby last night. I think the babies are outscoring the pets by a substantial margin in the AT&T fan photo of the game. We'll see how it goes tonight. Ruben Tejada leads off in the third inning. Mets down 1-0 against Henderson Alvarez, who shut them out the last time he faced them here in early May. Tejada 0 for his last 11. Down to 218 on the year. And fouls back the first pitch fastball. Tejada, then Matsuzaka and Eric Young for the Mets in the third. Alvarez has 3 wins this year. All 3, including the one against the Mets, have come via the shutout. His last start last season, he threw a no-hitter on the last day of the season against Detroit, also a shutout. So each of his last 4 wins have been shutouts. The last pitcher who had 4 straight victories that were all shutouts, David Cone for the Mets back in 1992.
And that was the same season, April-May, which is there's a difference then.
The last pitcher with 5 straight wins that were all shutouts, well,
Don Drysdale, bye-bye.
No.
Yeah, well, he broke his record.
Right, I'm saying they were consecutive games in that case. It wasn't just 5 wins spread out over a bunch of, it was Oral Hershey's.
Right.
5 straight shutouts.
He broke Don Drysdale's scoreless streak that was back in the 60s.
Drysdale had set the record in 68, and Hershiser broke it in 88.
Right. And I watched that game on TV, and Dick Dietz was the one that got the hit by pitch with the bases loaded, 2 outs, and Harry Wendelstadt was the umpire, I believe.
You're talking about Drysdale streak.
Drysdale streak, yes.
Strike 3 called, and Tejada knew it. Third strikeout. Now, Alvarez's no-hitter last September against the Tigers was unusual in that it was scoreless going to the bottom of the ninth. There's a great play to save it, but he didn't have a run to work with all night, and so the Marlins needed to score for him in the bottom of the ninth for it to be a no-hitter, and they got the winning run on a wild pitch in the bottom of the ninth.
Oh, wow. See, that's where Alvarez is going to get in trouble right there. That's if he gets that ball up in the strike zone. If you notice that last pitch flattened out, didn't sink. But he just looks very athletic on the mound, does he not?
Just 24 years old, and really rounding into what is going to be a very young and talented Marlins rotation. He takes care of Daisuke on 3 pitches.
I wonder if I could be wrong. The pitch prior, like something was wrong with his right leg when he followed through. He's touching his right leg.
Salt Lamaki is going out to the mound.
Yeah, I think something's wrong with him. The pitch prior to the strikeout, he kind of winced. And he's been grabbing behind his I'm trying to think, right knee. You see right there.
Grabbing there.
Yep. Something's not right. Here's the pitch that I'm talking about.
So that leg whipped around a little bit. And the trainer's coming out now. Good call, Keith.
Yep.
Trainer and manager Mike Redmond both are going to come out to see if Alvarez is okay.
Well, could it be a cramp? And when he whipped his leg around, it was very violent, wasn't it, Gary?
Yeah. He's reached back there a couple of times since. I mean, he dialed that up. The pitch he threw right before the cramp or whatever it was, he threw 96 miles an hour.
Yeah, if he's got to go. If he's limping like that, he's got to get out of Dodge.
Well, he's going to try it.
Oh, okay.
He's going to try and stay in.
I'm not going to attempt to say what's wrong with him, but obviously there's some discomfort. I don't know if it's a cramp or... But I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets out of this inning, if he doesn't go back out the next inning. They're going to get someone up in that bullpen, I guarantee you.
It certainly will check him out once he comes off the mound following this inning and do a little bit more hands-on work in the trainer's room. Here's Eric Young with 2 out and nobody on. Ewing grounded out to second his first time up and takes a fastball strike.
Well, that didn't look too shabby.
Hit hard, but right at McGee playing in. And he throws out Young to end the inning. So Alvarez, whatever is ailing him, looking fine. Retired 8 in a row. He's got a 1-0 lead in the third. About Henderson Alvarez
Yes,
as he came into the dugout after that last inning.
And you know me, I'm not one to, being the old school guy that I am, to baby these guys and turn them into hypochondriacs, but I would be a little, have an ice pack there for him or something behind his knee, wherever it was in his back of his leg.
Well, apparently he must have convinced them that he's okay, because they're leaving him alone. Meanwhile, Rafael Furcal will lead off the home third against Daisuke Matsuzaka. Furcal tripled off the right field fence his first time up, and that one crossed up Recker.
Sure did.
He was expecting the express, and he got the local.
And you put down one sign. Whoop. That is definitely a cross-up, folks. You know the old trick, right? I've said it before in the air when you don't like an umpire behind the plate.
Oh. Nobody does that anymore.
No. I'll tell you, folks, I saw it happen. Here's the signs on the cross-up. Let's see what finger he puts down. He wanted. Oh, he put. Okay, so there's multiple
he said
signs.
1-2-1, so it looked like.
Yep.
I don't know.
So it's either the first sign or the last sign.
Now, this is interesting because the Mets are using sign sequencing with nobody on base.
Correct.
Which is something they did in Philadelphia a number of years ago when the Phillies were being accused of stealing signs in their home ballpark.
Right.
And it's been talked about here in Miami as well.
So I think that it's resonated. No one's taking any chances.
Daisuke behind on Furcal 2-0. And there's a strike.
So to get back to my point, folks, real briefly, we'll get it after this pitch. If you didn't like an umpire, he's having a bad day, and it happened in the minor leagues, because in the minor leagues there were some, Gary will tell you, there were some bad umpires. And there were actually some umpires I ran through that had a couple cocktails before a game too, and it was all over their breath. So it was, it was lower minor leagues, anything goes. But it doesn't happen on this level. I'm sure it doesn't happen now in today's game. I'm talking 30, 40 years ago. So they're having a problem here with the signs. They're having an issue here.
Two and one to Furcal, and that misses low.
So if you had an umpire it was having a bad day, or there was bad blood, you'd put down curveball, pitcher would throw a fastball, and the catcher would pretend like he's crossed up and hit the umpire right in the mask.
Nice.
I saw that happen in my minor league career, Gary, around 10 times, and the umpires knew it, and God, were they upset.
Poor low minors umpires, two-man crews.
Yes.
Driving all over the league themselves, making virtually no money.
No money.
No meal money.
No days off.
I'm telling you, minor league umpires, until they get, to the point where they're at AAA and they're getting some major league call-ups every now and again. In the low minors, that is the worst job in the world.
It is really the bush leagues.
Three-two coming from Daisuke, and for Kyle grounds one for Murphy. So Daisuke wins that war, one away. I've thought a lot over the last number of years that one thing Major League Baseball could really do to help out the game would be to subsidize the salaries of minor league umpires, because I think a lot of ex-players, for instance, guys who flame out, whether it's in college or in the low minors, might be encouraged to become umpires if the working conditions at the lowest levels were not so horrendous, and they really are horrendous. I mean, you're talking about two-man umpiring crews in A-ball, and they're never home. They drive themselves around wherever they go, and the pay is absurdly low. It's a real problem, and it makes it that much more difficult to find qualified umpires.
It's like a softball game, really, folks. At home, you don't have enough umpires, so the home plate umpire has to call the foul ball down, not only down to third base, over third base, he has to also call it deep down the right field, left field line. I forgot, Gary. You're right. It's been so long.
And here you are assaulting those low minors umpires with fake cross-ups. Don't you feel bad now?
I don't feel bad. Who was in my first year in ball, in A-ball, Florida State League, who was a rookie umpire? Eric Gregg.
Is that right?
Yep.
One and two to Echeverria. Well, Eric Gregg was involved in a very famous game involving this Marlins franchise. Back in 1997, he was the home plate umpire for Livan Hernandez's 15 strikeout game that clinched the National League Championship Series against the Braves. Probably the widest strike zone for any game I've ever seen. Echeverria lifts one to center, easy for Granderson. 2 out.
Well, Eric was a guy that didn't do too many push-ups away from the table, and he got bigger and bigger, and he was one of those guys that was a character and was.
Eric was a really nice man. He passed away a few years ago.
Yes, he did. And as he got older, his strike zone got wider.
Right. I remember, I think Kenny Lofton was the last out in that game. And the last strike that he called had to be, I don't know, 10, 12 inches outside. I mean, just a ridiculous amount outside. And that was at a time when, before the mass resignations of the umpires and all that went on, where umpires were getting a little bit out of hand in terms of creating their own strike zones. And Stanton takes a strike 1-1. I think a lot of that's been reined in now.
Richie Phillips was the orchestra leader of that, the union head. A lot of guys lost their jobs.
Yes, they did. It was a very
poor
decision.
Poor advice.
Well, some of those guys were rehired a few years later, like Bob Davidson was one of the umpires let go, and he had to work his way up back in the low minors to get himself back into the major leagues.
And you have I hate the term, but the scab umpires.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that term.
Well, they crossed picket lines.
Yes.
That was.
You had it in some baseball players too. Rick Reed.
Mm-hmm. 2-1 to Stanton, and he fouls it away.
Big rip right there. I happen to like Rick a lot. I thought Rick was a terrific player, terrific pitcher. Just funny how some guys, someone made a talent evaluation of him. A lot of guys said, okay, AAA pitcher. You know, he's a pretty doggone good pitcher.
He really was.
Oh.
Struck him out. Daisuke. Taking care of Stanton. One nothing Marlins after 3. One nothing lead. Daniel Murphy has the Mets' only hit, and he takes low for ball 1.
Well, after that first toss, he looks all right to me.
Alvarez appeared to have something happen to his leg during that last inning, but all appears to be well. Murphy right and Granderson against him in the 4th, and he falls behind Murphy 2-0.
He's not following through so vigorously, Gary. He's kind of earlier he's falling to the left first base side of the rubber. Now he's pretty much straight up.
Well, it seemed as though the pitch where he got whatever happened to him, he had a little more dipsy-do in his follow-through. Line toward the middle, a base hit for Murphy. Just past Echeverria, and Murphy's 2 for 2.
Well, that's just a pitcher like this should be right up Murph's alley. Sinker, right-hand sinker baller. It's a good matchup for Murph. Nice hitting. Not trying to pull him. Don't play into the hands of the sinker baller.
So the Mets get the leadoff man on for the first time tonight. And now David Wright, who grounded out to third base his first time up.
Pretty quick move over there. Nice snap move.
Right hits one foul. Alvarez has pitched 18 innings against the Mets this season. He's given up 2 runs. It's kind of like Wheeler against the Marlins, right? 21 innings, 1 run. Mets just have not been able to scratch against this guy.
That first run in the first inning for the Marlins, that ended a 17-inning streak where the Marlins hadn't scoreless streak. They haven't scored a run.
Right.
They have really been struggling, and it's shown on this homestand.
Well, the Marlins have lost 6 of 8. Down to 500 for the year. Still just a game and a half out of first place. The entire division's only separated 5 games top to bottom. David takes the breaking ball away. 1 and 2.
Well, the Marlins, really, what they've shown so far, we're almost 3 months into the season, is they're a 500 club. They were 13 and 14 in April, 15 and 13 in May. Now they're 8 and 9 in June. So they're a 500 club playing 500 ball.
Line toward the middle. Short hop by Furcal. Drops it, picks it up, and he turns a double play. How about that?
Wow.
He bobbled it 3 times and still turned 2.
And nothing Murph can do here because you didn't know this was a line drive to be caught. Murph does the correct thing on the bases here. He's got a hold. And once it hits the ground, he's dead. Nice play by Furcal. He's always been a slick fielder. I mean, you got to freeze here. You're not quite sure that if this is going to be a line drive caught. If it's on the ground, it's a double play anyway.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Granderson, who took a call third strike his first time up. And he rifles one off the glove of Furcal, and Granderson is aboard with what should be a 2-out hit.
Why wouldn't it be?
You know, because Furcal got a piece of it, but just like he looked like he mistimed his jump a little bit.
Sinker that didn't sink. Granderson continues to hit. Just off the tip of his glove, and Granderson likes that ball down. If Granderson doesn't try to pull Alvarez, it's a good matchup for Granderson too.
So that's the Mets' third hit. And here's Abreu, who struck out his first time up. And Bobby takes the sinker low, ball 1.
What's surprising about Alvarez is that he gives up a lot of base hits. He's given up more hits than innings pitched. 95. There's Furcal right there, just off his mitt. He's not a real tall guy. Good effort. 95 hits and 88 innings pitched coming into tonight's performance.
But only 4 home runs.
Right.
That's the thing about
and 18 walks.
Early in his career pitching in Toronto, he was a guy who gave up a lot of home runs.
I got to wonder what's going on up in Toronto. Everybody goes up to Toronto and hits home runs. The pitchers give them up. That is a hitter's paradise.
Just ask R.A. Dickey. His life changed when he moved up there.
Air's lighter than Kilimanjaro.
Well, Alvarez in 188 innings with the Blue Jays 2 years ago gave up 29 home runs. He's given up only 6 home runs in 190 innings since joining the Marlins.
Correct.
The thing is about Alvarez, he gave up more home runs on the road when he was with the Blue Jays than he did at home. So, go figure. Abreu hits one off the mound and through the middle, and the Mets have their 3rd hit of the inning.
Well, he's starting to lose his sinker, Gare. I'm wondering if it's the leg. Watch this. They want to come inside. Boy, that just bled out over the middle. Nice hitting by Abreu. Good job by Pat Hoberg at second base. Umpire, you got to dodge that bullet.
He's young and agile. Rookie umpire. Here's Lucas Duda, who hit one to the warning track in left field his first time up. Lucas has been on a pretty good roll this last week. His last 6 games, he's got 6 doubles and a home run among his 8 hits. And he's been using more of the ballpark. So he got doubles to left center, down the left field line.
Ozuna in left field is where I'd play Lucas. I would just give him the left field line and take that left center field gap away from him.
Alvarez falls behind 2-0.
And you can see where Ozuna in left field's playing. I would just, anything down the line's a double anyway. Take the gap away. Shade the center fielder to right center field.
Anthony Recker would be next. That's down 1-0 in the fourth. 2 on for Duda. And Lucas takes a strike. 2-1.
Just looks like this inning Alvarez has lost his sink. Lost his sharpness. There's Lucas's hits, mainly to right field. Not surprising.
Tries to lay off, and he stopped it in time. And Hickox with the call. Now it's 3-1.
I'd be very careful right here in this 3-1 pitch if I was Alvarez, with Recker in the on-deck circle. Right-hand hitter.
And Recker's really been struggling lately, too.
But Recker's always been one to get a big hit.
Granderson at second, Abreu at first with 2 out. 3-1 coming, and Duda bounces one weakly back to Alvarez, and he'll take it himself to retire the side. Mets have 3 hits in the inning, but they don't score. Still 1-0 Miami. It was the year Steinbrenner sued Winfield. Mackie Sasser had a bad case of the yips, and WWF Wrestling came clean about being fake. This week, relive the best sports stories from 1989 on Oh Yeah! New episode Sunday at 10 p.m. only on SNY. Casey McGee leads off the home fourth for Miami. McGee struck out his first time up and takes a curveball outside from Daisuke, who gave up a first inning run. A triple by Furcal, a run scoring ground out. Last night the Mets scored a run in the first inning, and that was all the scoring in the game. McGee floats one down the right field line, and that'll go foul.
Yeah, broke his bat there towards the end of the bat. He's taking a check.
New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. Speak with James Fanero in Bethpage or Stephen Principe in East Meadow today. One and one to McGee with Saltalamacchia and Jones to follow, and a comebacker for Daisuke. 1 out. You know, the last time the Mets were here in early May, they were shut out the last 2 games of that series. One of those was by Alvarez, the other by Tom Pollard. They scored 1 run last night. They haven't scored today. In this ballpark, the last 36 innings the Mets have played here, they've scored 1 run. David's home run last night. That's it. 36 innings, 1 run.
They've struggled here. I mean, it's not like it's the.
It's not the fault of the Pink Flamingos.
It's not the 69 starting rotation of the Orioles exactly.
Saltalamacchia, and he takes outside ball 1.
And they got big shift on Salty, as he's called by his teammates.
2 syllables, easier than 6.
You caught me.
Saltalamacchia hit one well over the head of Granderson, who's playing him a little deeper this time. And Granderson came in after the inning when Saltalamacchia hit the double. He and Tom Goodwin, the Mets outfield coach, had a conversation. That they were talking about playing a little deeper against Saltalamacchia, who was up there trying to hit home runs more than anything else.
Well, he's an all-or-nothing guy, as is Garrett Jones. All-or-nothing guys can be pitched to.
All or nothing helped win him a ring last year, here facing his former battery mate in Boston. And he takes a strike. 2-2.
A little generous there on the outside corner.
By the way, so far in the meeting between Saltalamacchia and Matsuzaka, Salty is 4 for 5. Sometimes when you catch a guy, you have an idea how to hit him. 2-2. Breaking ball hit the other way, and that's going to dunk in for a base hit. Saltalamacchia thinking about 2, and he'll get there easily. Another double for Saltalamacchia, this time in less conventional fashion.
Take him any way you can get him. Boy, you want him with the bases loaded, wouldn't you? About 1 foot 6 inches inside. Umpire right on it, on his knee. That is Ed Hickok. How do you pronounce his name with the X at the end?
Hickox?
Okay. I have a hard time with that.
It's like 2 Hickocks.
Now, plural.
There you go. It's like Red Sox. Hickox.
Yes, you're right.
There
of
you go.
course. Okay. Yeah. I needed to
give you something to relate to. Here's Garrett Jones, who flied to left his first time up. He moves his feet. 1-0. Braves and Nats are tied 1-1 in the 4th. Ian Desmond homered off Mike Minor to tie up that game. Winner will have first place at the end of the night. Washington a half game up on Atlanta going into play tonight. You know, the Braves, in this epidemic of Tommy John surgeries, have come out as badly as anybody else, with Brandon Beachy and Chris Medlin going down during spring training. And then they had a Tommy John survivor, Gavin Floyd, who was pitching so well for them over 9 starts, and then he fractures a bone in his elbow last night. Jones yanks one down the line right toward the pole. Home run.
Wow.
Garrett Jones, a 2-run homer. Abreu was staring up toward the foul pole. He's not sure. The first base umpire, Ron Kolpa, called it fair. The home run sculpture is in operation, and Terry Collins is coming out, and he may ask for the umpires to review this. He doesn't have to ask to challenge. The umpires can do this on their own on a home run, just as they did in past years. And they're going to group together and see whether Jones indeed has hit a 2-run homer to make it 3-0 Miami.
Who has the best view here? It's the first base umpire. Come on, he's closest to the ball. We'll take a look here. Let's see what the pitch is. Oh, it's a changeup over the middle. Now, Jones doesn't get out of the box because he knows it's close.
It's foul ball, isn't it?
I couldn't tell.
Yep.
Oh, wow, how did the umpire blow that?
It's foul ball. So they're going to review it. Now, again, this is not a challenge. This is the umpires simply reviewing the home run as they were able to do the last few years. And they're going to see. And Bob Guerin says it's It's not a challenge. I think that's what he just said. And he also said it's not a home run. And so the umpires are going to get on the headsets. The only way this is a home run is if maybe it nicked the outside of the foul pole on its way by, but I don't think it did. And I think this is going to get overturned. See, the ball goes to the right of the pole.
I think it's foul.
And I don't think it nicked it. So this is going to be overturned, it would appear.
You need to get the super chicken out here with the eye chart. Whatever happened to the super chicken? He's gone now?
You mean the San Diego chicken?
Yeah.
I think he's in retirement. Out on the chicken farm somewhere. Well, Daisuke is certainly an interested spectator. Abreu, the right fielder, stared up at the pole for the longest time after the ball sailed by, trying to get a reading on whether it was fair or foul. But it was called fair on the field by the first base umpire, Ron Culpa. And he is the crew chief, and he's on headset there waiting for the ruling from New York. But certainly the replays make it appear as though it was a foul ball. And here we go. Here's the call. And it is a foul ball. So take away the home run from Garrett Jones. Put Saltalamacchia back on second base, and it's just a long strike for Jones rather than his 10th home run of the year. And it's 1-0 Miami, not 3-0.
Yep.
And you can see clearly there the ball disappears on the foul side of the pole. Now, we don't know if that's the view that they used to definitively make the call or whether there's one from the Miami broadcast, but either way, it is simply a long foul ball, and Jones loses what he hoped was a 2-run homer.
His 10th. Hang with him.
Well, he's still in the batter's box with a 2-1 count.
So Daisuke gets away with a mistake.
Daisuke has given up only one home run this season in 45 innings. It's rather impressive. Jams Jones, and it's 2-2. But Daisuke has given up 3 hits tonight, and they've all been extra base hits. For Carl Triple in the first, scored the only run, and Saltalamacchia with a pair of doubles. Marcell Ozuna waits on deck. 2-2 coming to Jones, and he pulls one down to Duda, who is playing the line, and that's the second out as Saltalamacchia goes to third. So the Mets with the big shift against Jones, and that paid off with Duda right along the chalk. So 2 away, a runner at third, and now Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna bounced to short his first time up. Saltalamacchia at third with 2 out.
Ozuna very opened in his stance, but extremely open. Front foot way towards third base, but watch him, he brings it back quickly on his balls of his foot, but he strides in.
Slider in for a strike. Almost as though he's up on his toe, isn't it?
Yep. You got to be on the balls of your feet, that front foot a little bit, and the weight on the inner half of your foot. That provides the balance you need. By the inner, the length of the foot, the instep. Yes. Thanks, guys. If it wasn't for the truck, I'd be in deep trouble. But you got to have on your instep on your both feet, so you drive off your back foot, and as you stride, because your weight is on the instep, that gives you the balance, so you don't lunge.
Fastball strike, 2-2.
And I think a lot of the hitters today, they've taught them to have widespread stances. because of the attempt to prevent lunging. Well, I just think it locks up your hips. You better have a figure like physique like Ted Williams or Mike Stanton or Dave Kingman. Wiry guys could be widespread. If you're too spread out, you're going to lock your rotation of your hips, and you're not going to have any of your lower body helping you. It's going to be all in upper body, which is what we see a lot in today's hitters.
Full count to Ozuna with Marisnik on deck. Three-two coming. Got him. Base K Matsuzaka comes up and in. And so an inning that could have featured a two-run homer. Mets get the benefit of a replay. Recker got whacked on that last swing. But the Mets emerged from the inning without the Marlins scoring. A little shot on the left arm on the overswing by Ozuna. Still 1-0 Miami. Happened to you. Ozuna whacking him on the left arm with his bat right near the elbow.
Oh, look, he didn't get him on the elbow, on the bone. That could have broke his elbow, for crying out loud.
And then you got to go hit.
Well, hey, it's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it, Gare. I will say this. I have never seen as many backswings from hitters that hit the catcher, whether on the head or just hit the catcher anywhere, as I see today, the frequency.
And why do you think that is?
I don't get it. The catchers aren't told to get any closer to the pitcher or closer to the batter. They're still the same distance behind. I've got to think a lot of hitters just let go with one hand, take full swings. It just didn't happen in the 17 years that I played. Very seldom.
Record drives one foul. You can see it's already raised a bit of a knot on his arm.
He'll have a nice little black and blue spot in the morning when he wakes up. Well, you remember we were kids growing up, Gary, all the old catchers that before Johnny Bench, Johnny Bench was the first catcher to put his throwing hand behind his back And all the other catchers, I know growing up as a kid, all the catchers, they had like dislocated knuckles.
They used to say, don't shake hands with the catcher, you may never get your hand back. With all those crooked fingers locking you in. Top foul, still 2-2. Behind record, Tejada and then Matsuzaka in the fifth. Mets have had 4 hits. They had 3 of them against Alvarez in the 4th inning after Alvarez appeared to tweak his leg in the 3rd. But the Mets unable to push anything across. And record got a piece of that to stay alive. Seventh pitch of the at bat coming from Alvarez to Recker, and he got him. 5 strikeouts for Alvarez. 1 out and nobody on. Ruben Tejada coming up. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve.
Well, Gary, Travis d'Arnaud had another great night last night in Las Vegas. 3 hits, his 6th home run of the season down there, and it really seems like it's a fait accompli that he will be back up with the big team at some point, maybe early next week. And with that, you know, one of the guys, Anthony Recker at Taylor Teagarden, is not going to be a part of this team anymore. And as much as both of them try and not think about something like that, it's hard. Taylor Teagarden says his mother's always asking him about it. Anthony Recker, he said not just both of his parents, but also his new wife, Kelly, is very nervous about it. And Recker admitted that, you know, there's a lot of anxiety associated with these next few days, knowing that one bad performance could maybe get you sent down to AAA. And what Recker also said is that, you know, he and his wife, they're expecting their first child. His wife, Kelly, announced it on Twitter on Friday. And as a man, he said, you want to be able to provide for your family. So right now, there's a fair bit of nerves knowing that something's going to happen. They're just not sure what.
Well, they're not the first one, and they won't be the last one.
Well, it's the life of a journeyman player.
That's exactly right.
I mean, when you're a backup player, and, you know, Recker's 29 years old and Teagarden's 30 years old, and they've both been around long enough to have experienced this before. What makes it interesting, though, is that Recker has been here for an extended period of time, almost a year and a half, as the backup catcher. And Teagarden has come in these last 10 days or so as Jones tries the miracle catch and can't quite get to it. You know, Teagarden's come up and he's played well, and I think he's opened some eyes, which makes it a closer competition than you would have expected when that decision's finally made.
Well, the one thing that Recker brings and that Teagarden doesn't is, even though Teagarden is obviously his first start, hit the grand slam to win the ball game, Recker hit 7 home runs last year off the bench, and he's got pop. It's been a little tough for him this year hitting, but he's a guy that you can have off the bench with one swing that can hit the bomb for you. He got a lot of big home runs last year.
Tejada drills one into left field for a base hit. Ozuna nicely cuts it off and holds him to a single. So the Mets have their 5th hit against Alvarez, and Tejada snaps a personal 0 for 12.
Out over the plate, inner half. Ozuna makes a nice backhand.
There's a lot of talent in that Marlins outfield.
What is this? Oh, the 0 for 12. They're getting on him. That's a hard bench when they're doing that to you.
Daisuke up there to bunt, and he takes ball 1. Daisuke struck out his first time up. He has 2 sacrifices this year.
Nice.
Gets the bunt down. Alvarez will have to go to first with it. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Tejada to second.
Now, to be fair, guys, that whole towel thing, they're actually not getting on Ruben Tejada right there. They're doing it right now as we speak because of a nice sack bunt by Daisuke Matsuzaka. Curtis Granderson started it back in the St. Louis series. It's a hit towel. Every time someone gets a hit or a pitcher lays down a sacrifice bunt, they're going to wave the towels. Just loosens up the bench a little bit, especially at a time in St. Louis when things weren't going all that well.
Mets hope to put together enough hits to get some towels frayed.
Like a battle flag.
Yeah. So the tying run in scoring position with 2 out. Eric Young has grounded out twice tonight. Mets trying to break through against Alvarez, who shut them out for 9 innings back on the 6th of May and has shut them out to this point tonight.
I just don't agree with the infield defense here with a sinker ball pitcher up and Eric Young up. And I'm speaking about Echeverria at short. I would shade a little more, a couple steps to the third base side, and I would move McGahee into the hole a little more. Sinker ball pitcher, pitch him away, play him away.
One thing to keep in mind, you've got 3 very strong arms in that Marlins outfield, and they're playing rather shallow. So there's no guarantee Tejada, who's not very fast, is going to score on a base hit.
They got some good arms out there, as you say, particularly that guy out in right field. Got a cannon.
Saw Marisnik's arm last night when he doubled Eric Young off first base. And Ozuna can throw as well. 2-1 to Young. Eric's 5th game since coming back from the disabled list. Terry hit him in the 9-hole a couple of days in St. Louis and batted the pitcher 8th. That's when he had Granderson leading off. But Eric back in his more familiar leadoff spot. And here's a strike. Good fastball by Alvarez. 2-2.
Yeah, Alvarez he's very crafty. He does pitch to left-handers inside there, and he ties them up. He knows he cannot live on that outside corner with left-hand hitters. A lot of step outs in this Wego.
Two to EY, and he fouls back the fastball.
Came back, doubled up inside, Gare. I got to believe now he's going to try to maybe throw a little change up. Does not want Murph. Does not want any part of Murph here in the on-deck circle. Murph hit 2 rockets off of him. This is the man that he has to get.
Tejada at second with 2 out. And Young chops one. Tough play. Alvarez will have to take it himself, and he beats him to the bag. Well, we talked about Alvarez and how good an athlete he is, and I guess his right leg is okay.
Is he a cat? Look at him race to the bag. He is an athlete. That's a fine play.
He made a very tough play look easy. Keeps it a 1-0 game. Nice. Tom Kohler from New Rochelle. Anthony DeSclafani from Freehold, New Jersey. Mets will have DeGrom tomorrow and John Neese on Sunday. First pitch swinging. Marisnick pops one up. And Murphy back to grab it. One pitch and one out for Daisuke Matsuzaka in the home fifth.
Daisuke is doing a very good job, Gary, of pitching inside today to the right-handers.
Keith, the resurrection of Daisuke Matsuzaka's career is nothing short of phenomenal. Remember where he came from as Henderson Alvarez gets set to bat. Daisuke spent almost all of last year in the Cleveland farm system, and the Indians thought little enough of him that they never called him up. Daisuke had an out in his contract and was able to exercise that and then signed with the Mets in August. And they called him up. He made 3 starts, one against the Tigers, one against the Phillies, and one against the Braves. And to put it delicately, he was awful in all 3 of those starts. And it looked as though his career might be over. The Mets decided to give him one more start because they happened to be playing their next series in Cleveland against the team that had failed to call him up, and he pitched a much better game that day. He worked at a more rapid pace. Little floater over short, a base hit for Alvarez. That's his 6th hit of the year. 4th hit of the night for the Marlins. Anyway, Daisuke pitched a real good game in Cleveland and then gave the Mets 3 more good starts at the end of the year. As Alvarez lunging for that breaking ball has a base hit. Since that day in Cleveland, which was September 8th of last year, Daisuke has made 25 appearances, 8 starts. In that span, he is 6-0 with a 2.25 ERA.
That'll work.
He has turned his career completely around when it looked as though, I mean, if he had a bad start in Cleveland that day in September last year, that was probably going to be it. It was for Kyle taking ball 1.
Well, I think the big thing that helped Daisuke, and I'll give a little credit to Dan Worth, and you get a pitcher at a crossroads, and particularly a pitcher that's been a star, they'll listen when they're at a crossroads, not when they're on top.
Kyle hits one in the air to right. This one's playable for Abreu. Right at the edge of the track to grab it for the 2nd out.
But the suggestion from Worth, and if we look at the seasons from Matsuzaka, the 18-3 was his best year with the Red Sox. Always a slow worker, and Worthen got him to pick the tempo up, pick the pace up, and I think that's worked for Daisuke.
And this year he has done everything asked of him. Went to the minors, pitched out of the bullpen. This is the 3rd time this year that he's making a start right after a relief appearance. Nobody does that anymore. And yet he's handled it all with grace, and he's pitched wonderfully. 2 out and a runner at first for Echeverria, who's driven in the only run of this game with a ground out, and that's foul. And the only quibble you can make with what Matsuzaka's done this year is that he's walked too many batters. Tonight only 1 walk, and that was intentional.
But he's the type of pitcher that's going to pick his spots too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's crafty enough to pitch around the tough outs if there's a weak guy behind him. Freddie Valenzuela was really terrific at that.
Tactical walks.
Yes. Valenzuela will take a look at Daisuke's motion. I always watch his head. He snaps his head. Almost looks like how can he look at the target?
Well, remember the other Japanese pitcher the Red Sox had, Okajima, the lefty?
Yes.
Who used to look down at the ground when he was throwing the ball home? Well, not anywhere near his target. Sharply hit, but right at Tejada, and he'll go the short way, and that retires the side. So another strong inning for Daisuke. We're through 5 in Miami, 1-0 Marlins. done his share.
Well, Daniel's done the right thing, and that is not try to pull this young man. So they're going with that sinker. It's a good pitch. That's good hitting. And there's a sinker that was up and away, and you know, if you try to pull that, and you're going to roll it over, 4-3 on your scorecard.
So back-to-back 2-hit games for Murphy.
Let's see if he changes the program here. We're in the 6th inning. If you're going to come inside, change the program. This is when I've heard a pitcher a couple times away, first 2 at bats, like to look in for a strike.
Murphy always checks with the home plate umpire when he gets a strike call.
He needs to put on his Clark Kent glasses.
Murphy riding Granderson for the Mets in the 6th, and Murph pops one up.
And he came inside finally and got him.
And Marisnick squeezes it, 1 out.
And didn't get it in enough, but I'm sorry, didn't get it in as much as he wanted to, but in enough. That's got a lot of plate. Murph falling back on his back foot means he got beat.
So 1 out. Now David Wright. David has hit the ball on the ground twice tonight, once into a double play. Kind of an odd looking double play when Furcal fumbled it 2 or 3 times, but was still able to turn it.
And you see the same pitching David away consistently. It's one thing about the big leagues. If they keep getting you out one way, they're going to keep pitching you that way until you start hitting it.
Driven to right center. Stanton back. It's over his head and 1 hop to the wall. And Wright cruises into second base with a 1-out double.
Well,
that's about the first time in a month we've seen David Wright drive the ball like that to right center field.
Absolutely. And as I was saying, you start hitting that pitch away. Let's see if he got it there. That's just good hitting right there. Not away enough, but still out that outer part of the plate. And Stanton likes to play very shallow here, but that ball was ripped.
16th double of the year for Wright. So now 2 home runs and 2 doubles in the last 4 games for David. Here's Granderson with the tying run at second and 1 out. And Curtis lays off the changeup, 1-0.
Key to hitting the ball away is hitting it up at the plate. You can't go out and get it. If you go out and get it in front, you're going to roll it over. That's like you got to hit it deep in the zone, as they say today. I hate to use that modern terminology, but for the sake of you young kids watching,
Bobby Abreu waits on deck. Granderson hit a bullet off the glove of Furcal for a base hit his last time up. 1 for 2 on the night. Mets now up 6 hits to just 4 for the Marlins. But the Mets looking for the equalizer. World Cup season. Foul back. 1-2. It's 1-0 in the 6th.
Oh, Italy got knocked off. For crying out loud. They got to play an elimination game, I believe. And you wouldn't think I would know this. I think they got to play Uruguay on an elimination
Spain
game.
is out. England's out.
Yep. I talked to a guy today from Venezuela. And he thinks that it's going to either be Brazil or Germany in the end. I don't know much about it.
Home sides fare awfully well in the World Cup, so
Brazil's
I have to favor Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil's always got a great team, and so is Germany.
Well, Sunday's going to be a big day for U.S. soccer.
Yep.
If they can find a way to beat a downtrodden Portugal team, that would be enormous. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Hit in the air to right field. Stanton's got room going back. Onto the warning track. Wright tags at second. And he'll move over to third. Now there are 2 out. Let's go into the studio. Eamon McEnany standing by for a game break brought to you by your local Tri-Honda dealers.
Well, they continue the dominance.
It's unbelievable. 23 out of their last 30, the Braves have beaten the Nationals. And if they win tonight, they'll be back in first place Wright stands at third, carrying the tying run with 2 out. Bobby Abreu, the batter, had a base hit up the middle his last time up. And Alvarez pumps in a strike at 95. Abreu hitting over 300 with runners in scoring position in his brief tenure. Been going against the grain.
Oh, up and in.
Spins 1-1.
Well, you know what? If you're going to pitch inside, it's a big out right here. We're in the 6th inning. I'm sorry, that's the enemy. If you're going to miss, you're going to miss inside. This is a critical out right here, and a veteran hitter. Doggone good veteran hitter. It's a big out.
The Mets looking to break through against a pitcher they haven't scored against in a dog's age.
Dogs don't live that long. Oh, I get it.
2-1 to Abreu. It's an old saying.
Yes, I know.
Wright doubled. He's at third with 2 out. Alvarez has been right on top of his game this last month or so. And again tonight. Comes inside. Now he's behind Abreu, 3-1 with Duda on deck. Alvarez's last 5 starts has a 0.81 ERA. Now, he's got only 1 win during that stretch because the Marlins haven't scored for him. But, I mean, he has just taken over as the ace of this Miami staff with the injury to Jose Fernandez.
And he's being very careful with Abreu. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a walk here.
Abreu takes one the other way. Over toward the line comes Ozuna, and he gets there to retire the side. A double, right, left at third. Alvarez continues to foil the Mets. He's up 1-0 in the 6th. Talks about being a Jet, playing for Rex, and the quarterback competition. Plus, the SNY crew will have a complete mini-camp wrap-up on Jets Nation Sunday at 7, only on SNY. Home 6th inning. Part of the batting order up for the Marlins. Giancarlo Stanton facing Daisuke Matsuzaka and takes a curveball for a strike. Mets have handled Stanton so far in this series. 0 for 3 last night, 0 for 2 tonight. McGee and Saltalamacchia to follow. 1-0 Miami in the 6th. And Stanton bloops one. On comes Granderson, but it'll fall for a base hit. Not the hardest hit ball for Stanton this season, but he's got his first hit of the series.
He's just so strong. This is a good pitch. Fastball running inside. And it beats Stanton, but he stays level, Gary. I've mentioned that. Look at that follow through. And there's a little.
And of course, Curtis has to play deep against Stanton.
Of course.
And he plays deeper than, say, a Lagares would anyway. So a leadoff base runner for the Marlins for the 3rd time in 6 innings. And now Casey McGee.
Stanton has 5 stolen bases on the year. Hasn't been caught yet. Not a very big lead.
McGee has taken a call 3rd strike and hit a comebacker 0 for 2. And Daisuke goes away for ball 1.
So they got their line drive hitter up here now. And McGee, 1 home run on the year, and he has gone to the gap-to-gap stroke up the middle, and it's with great success. And McGee, excuse me, I mean, that's that Gaelic spelling.
Two and out to McGee. Well, it looks like,
but it's like McGahee, huh? But it's
McGahee, or
it's a very odd spelling for McGee, that's for sure. Obviously, the H is silent.
Daisuke behind in the count, 2-0. And throws a curveball and misses, and he's digging the hole a little deeper.
Well, we'll see if they get the hit sign to McGee.
Well, McGee has only 1 home run, but 44 runs batted in. The next highest RBI total in the majors for a player who has 1 home run or less is 25. That's Connor Gillespie of the White Sox. So that's how effective McGee has been at driving in runs despite not hitting it out of the ballpark. 3-0. There's a strike, 3-1.
Taking all the way, and now the only question is will Mike Redmond on 3-1 let Stanton loose here, put him in motion? I would at a 1-0 game. You got a guy that's having a terrific year, hitting 300 for you, hitting line drives. I'd send him.
Not going. Call strike. Good fastball by Daisuke, and it's 3-2.
Well,
Carlos Torres, Josh Edgin on call in the Mets bullpen.
Josh got a quick little bit of sunflower seeds there before he'd been his first toss.
This is as well rested as the Mets bullpen has been in a long time, going all the way back to the Phillies series when they had all those long games, with the Mets getting 17 innings out of their starters the last 2 days. There goes Stanton. It's topped foul by McGee. The entire bullpen got the night off last night. It was the first complete game for a Mets starter this year. Terry Collins was asked before the game today whether there was any discussion about whether Wheeler would pitch the 9th. He said none. Remember, we saw him sitting alone on the bench before the 9th inning. Nobody even talked to him. Just went out there and did his job. Stanton was running on the first 3-2 pitch. Going again. McGee lines one the other way, a base hit. And Stanton will go first to third. Well, that's what Casey McGee has been doing all year with runners on base. And the Marlins have the table set in the 6th.
That's just going the other way. Look at the level stroke. Got away from that in the steroid era, and now we're maybe coming back to it. Stanton on the run here. It'll be easily get to third. You can just kind of keep it in third gear.
And Worthing out to the mound for a conversation with Jared Saltalamacchia coming up. Marlins up 1-0 in the 6th. Mets have been unable to do anything against Henderson Alvarez for the 2nd straight time facing him. And so they well know they can't afford to fall any further behind.
Give Terry Collins credit for getting that bullpen up.
Well, he's got it available tonight. Might as well use it.
Well, still, you can fall asleep. You know, you got the big hitter up there. Now he's going to give him one more batter. If he doesn't get Saltalamacchia out, he's got two guys ready to come in.
He got Edgin ready to face the left-hand hitter Jones.
Well done.
And then Torres for the right-hand hitters to follow. Saltalamacchia, a pair of doubles tonight. He drove one to center field over Granderson's head, and then he blooped one down the left field line. First and third and nobody out.
I knew it. Inside.
Cuts
I always loved it.
Sorry,
Gary, but in this situation, I always, when the book's inside on you and the pitcher's in trouble and you can really do some damage late, I always liked to look in first pitch, first strike.
See, Saltalamacchia not nearly as effective as the guy who preceded him, driving in runs. But he has had Daisuke's number, guy he used to catch in Boston. And now Daisuke ahead of him 0-2.
Coming inside to get him. I like it. Daisuke knows how to pitch.
Saltalamacchia with the two doubles tonight. Now 5 for 6 against Matsuzaka. There's Garrett Jones, the left-hand hitter, on deck. Stanton at third, McGee at first, and nobody out. Granderson with 2 strikes, moving a couple of steps toward left center. He had been over in right center. Now he's more straight away. And now takes another step. Where does Daisuke go on 0-2? He and Record trying to figure that out.
Daisuke working very methodically.
Well, it's a key moment in this game. They want to make sure they get it right.
He also knows that if he gives up a hit here, he's toast. He's going to go into showers. He can monkey around a little bit here. He's 0-2.
Record moves away. Saltalamacchia fouls off the fastball. You know, David Wright's playing substantially off the line at third, but Stanton is not taking advantage of it at all in terms of his lead.
Coming down the line.
I mean, he's getting 2 steps off the bag when David's a good 20 feet off the line. On a potential wild pitch that could make a difference. Again, the 0-2. Breaking ball in there. Strike 3 call. Backdoor slider from Matsuzaka to get Saltalamacchia for a big first out.
I think Terry's going to come in now and go with the left-hander for Jones. Backdoor? Yes, it is. Did it get around? Oh, boy, you got the call.
Well, that's his last pitch of the night, and a heck of a way to finish for Matsuzaka as he gets his former battery mate for his 4th strikeout of the night. So Daisuke will leave after 5 1/3. Josh Edgin comes in to face the left-hand hitter Jones. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. 1-0 Miami in the 6th. We'll be right back. first and third 1-out situation.
Well, you see the inherited runners. Josh has retired since his call-up. He's got his first 16 batters. He's been successful. He needs it here.
You'll see a pinch hitter, a right-hand batter, Jeff Baker, will bat for Garrett Jones. Jones not much against left-hand pitching, so Mike Redmond going to his bench. Stanton at third, McGee at first with 1 out.
It's a big part of the ball game here. It's the right move. Jones hitting only 184 against lefties with no home runs.
Look at
Baker,
that. He's retired every first batter he's faced since coming up, and he's got a big one here. The well-traveled Baker with his 6th different team, hitting at 223 on the year. First and third, 1 out. And Baker takes a slider off the plate for ball 1. Marcell Ozuna waits on deck.
hitters in the driver's seat here. 1-0.
He runs that fastball inside. 2-0.
And more so now.
Well, I think this might be Edgin's only batter. You got Torres still throwing in the bullpen with right-hand hitters to follow.
Absolutely. They're not going to pinch hit for Ozuna. Torres is going to get the call.
They only have one left-hand pinch hitter on their bench, and it's a rookie, Justin Bohr, who we saw last night. Edgin behind on Baker. 2-0. Ground ball to second, should be 2. Tejada with the turn. Double play, side retired. Edgin does it again. Gets the first batter out and gets 2 outs to get the Mets through the inning. Marlins at first and third and nobody out, and they do not score. Still 1-0 Miami after 6. Josh Edgin has made 17 appearances, retired the first batter in all 17, and after falling behind Jeff Baker 2-0, got the big double play to get the Mets out of huge trouble in the 6th.
Well done. Keeps the Mets in this ball game. The Mets have been at the cliff twice so far. The home run was originally called fair. That would have made it a 3-0 game. That was off the bat of Garrett Jones.
Jeff Baker, who pinch hit for Jones, stays in at first base. Dude is 0 for 2 today. Fly deep to left and hit a comebacker with 2 men on to end the 4th. And he chops another one. This one to the right side for Furcal. And that's the first out.
You know, guys, I was talking to Josh Edgen the other day about what's been the big change coming back up this time around. And, you know, he actually did not perform all that well in AAA, had a 4.97 ERA. But what he told me was while in AAA, he worked on some mechanical things. He had been hunching over a little bit, so his arm slot was not in the right place. But more so than anything else, he said when he was first up in the big leagues the first couple of seasons, he was trying to overthrow way too much. He said if I threw 93, I was trying to throw 96, and I couldn't control anything. He's kind of calmed down, just let his stuff do the talking, and so far this has been quite the successful resurgence back here in the majors.
Anthony Recker gets another bruise. He's already been hit by a backswing on the arm, and now he fouls one off his leg.
That sinker always gets under the bat. Oh, that got him on the instep. Maybe the ankle. That's when it hits your ankle, folks. That was on the instep. That's all bone there. That hurts.
One thing to remember about Josh Edgen, too, you know, Josh was a 30th round draft pick. He was not considered a prospect by any means. And then all of a sudden he showed that stuff from the left side that one spring training, and he rocketed to the major leagues and probably got here before he was fully ready. And he has had to be humbled, got sent back, and has made the adjustments, and all of a sudden he is he's the weapon the Mets always thought that he would be when they saw him that spring 2 years ago. Two and two to Recker with Tejada on deck. And the Mets right now going with two lefties in their bullpen, Edgen and Dana Evelyn, who has also proven to be very effective, particularly against left-hand hitters. And Scott Rice, who had been, you know, the main left-handed guy out of the bullpen, now back in the minor leagues. Mets have had a lot of turnover in the bullpen this year. That's been the less noticed part, the fact that they have really turned over the left side of their bullpen. Well, you see what the Mets have done lately at Marlins Park, and the answer to that is nothing, other than David Wright's home run last night. 38 innings, 1 run. It's hard to believe. Recker drives one into left field, so he gets a little retribution for all the bumps and bruises. And the Mets have their 7th hit against Alvarez.
Nice at bat. Laid off the 2-2 slider, and then gets a sinker away. Didn't get it away enough. Nice hitting.
Now Alvarez, his last start against the Pirates, went 7 innings and threw a career high 112 pitches. Mike Redmond is on his way out to the mound, and not sure whether he's going to make the pitching change. He is. They're going to go to the bullpen early. I think this is in part because of all the pitches he threw in his last start, more than he ever had before, and so he'll exit after 6 1/3. Not necessarily happy with that choice, but off he goes. So Alvarez exits with a 1-0 lead as the Marlins go to the bullpen. We'll be right back to Miami. 27-year-old A.J. Ramos has been very effective out of the Marlins bullpen.
He's having himself a fine season thus far.
Too many walks, that's always his downside, so you have to be patient with him. Ruben Tejada bats with a tying run at first and 1 out. And the slider in for a strike.
Well, he's a hard thrower and a hard slider. It's a power pitcher. Last year as a rookie reliever led all rookies with 80 innings pitched.
Anderson Alvarez. If Ramos is able to strand this runner, we'll have thrown 19 straight scoreless innings against the Mets. 2 straight breaking balls from Ramos, and he gets ahead on Tejada 0-2.
He's got a big slurve, doesn't he? Oh, it's a sweeper.
Eric Campbell is out on deck to bat for Edgin. Recker at first with 1 out. Tejada had a base hit his last time up, a bullet into left field. He pulls this one down to third, should be 2. Furcal with the turn, gets hit hard by Recker, but doubles up Tejada, and that'll do it for the Mets in the top of the 7th. 5-4-3 double play. So Ramos, as Edgin did in the last half inning, comes in, faces 1 batter, gets 2 outs. Good slide by Recker, but Furcal equal to it. Your photo to hashtag SNY fan photo for a chance to be shown during our broadcast. Babies always favored. That's a great look. Got the bat going. Little left-handed swing. You got any hitting tips?
Put his hands together. He had his hands are separated.
Did okay with his hands separated.
I know. I hear you.
Your Verizon trivia question: 4 Marlins players who've had a season where they hit 300 with 30 homers and 100 RBIs. 4 Marlins players have done that. Get to Citi Field Sunday, July 6th for Family Sunday, where the Mets take on the Rangers at 1:10. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Mets cereal bowl, courtesy of Citi. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays.
You can have oatmeal in that cereal bowl. Well, oatmeal is considered cereal.
I think it's more for the cereal where you pour milk on the cold cereal. Holds it in nicely. You can slurp it out of the bowl. Vic Black will pitch for the first time in 5 days.
Well, Vic Black has allowed 1 run in 12 1/3 innings since his call-up May 27th. He got the big hook. He's right out of the mold of Neil Allen. Hard thrower, straight gas over the top, and a electric curveball. His issue is throwing strikes.
Yeah, his last outing Sunday was a classic Vic Black outing. He walked his first 2 hitters, then he got 2 pop-ups and a strikeout, and then worked through a second inning as well. He'll face the lower third of the order, Ozuna, Marisnick in the pitcher's spot in the bottom of the 7th. 1-0 Marlins. They got the run back in the first. Ozuna 0 for 2, and he's late on the fastball and fouls it off. Jake Marisnick on deck. Daisuke Matsuzaka went 5 1/3, allowed 1 run, 6 hits, an intentional walk, and 4 strikeouts, lowered his ERA to 2.68. Daisuke has got 6 straight wins, but he's on the hook in this game. Zuna fouls off the fastball. Josh Edgin came in, threw 3 pitches to 1 batter and got 2 outs in a huge spot to get the Mets through the 6th inning unscathed. Well, Kevin Gregg, who just joined the Marlins yesterday, their veteran retread, is up again after pitching last night. So they're making quick and frequent use of the veteran Gregg. Black bounces the curveball, and Ozuna went around, strike 3. Ron Culpa punches him out from first base, 1 away.
Well, let's see. It becomes so automatic in today's game. It's close. I'm sure Ronnie would say yes, and I'd say close.
I think I went to Ronnie on that one. You guys are so protective of your areas. 1 out. Here's Jake Marisnick, who's been intentionally walked and popped up 0 for 1. And thinks about a bunt with Wright playing deep. Big Justin Bour has come out on deck to be a pinch hitter. Bour, the only left-handed bat on Mike Redmond's bench tonight. Both these teams struggling for runs right now. The Marlins have had the better offense this year, but not lately. Right back up the middle, and Marisnick has his first hit of this series. A 1-out single.
Well, went right with it up the middle.
So 1 out and 1 on. And now it's Bour, who flied out to center field as a pinch hitter last night. Product of George Mason University. 17 big league at bats, 5 hits. Marisnick, pretty good speed at first. And Black will check on him.
He's just been recently called up. In the first game that he played, he stole 2 bases. But he hasn't stole a bag since.
Bour is a big guy at the plate, and he is a home run hitter. Had 11 home runs for AAA New Orleans before his recall. He had 18 last year in the Southern League. And takes a big rip at a curveball that wasn't close. Nothing in 1.
That is a big league. It's not his usual. It's almost like a slider. Usually Vic has that 11 to 5 o'clock curveball, almost a 12 to 6. That was more of a slider. Haven't seen that.
Rafael Furcal on deck. And Marisnick dives back. The game in Washington is now in the bottom of the 7th. Braves still leading the Nats 4-1. What else is new?
So the Braves would go back in first place.
Yes, they would. Record sets up outside, and Black fires up and away at 97, 1-1. The hottest team in the division right now is the Phillies. But they just swept the Braves, and then they beat the Cardinals last night. The Phillies start the day only 4 games out of first place. Who would have thought that?
Well, after the Mets tore them up.
I mean, they looked just terrible in that series when the Mets beat them 4-5.
They were going down the drain.
But the Mets and Phils have gone in opposite directions since that series. Mets are 5-11 since those 5 games in Philadelphia. Phils have won 8 of their last 10. 1-1 to Bohr. Mets turned to double play last inning. There goes the runner. Recker's throw on a hop, and he's safe. Marisnick steals the base, his 3rd of the year.
And he just does get in ahead of the tag. There's that little slider pitch again. Bohr lays off this time. He got in with the hand.
Pat Hoberg, the second base umpire, waited, as all the umpires are doing now, to see if he came off the bag, and Tejada properly keeping the tag near him.
Well, there's really no reason to wait and see if someone's on the bag. You can call him safe, and if he comes off the bag and the tag's there, you call him out. Everybody's so afraid.
With the replay now, they don't want to be overruled.
Oh,
nice stop by Recker. 3-1.
So you always want to keep your glove on a guy sliding, because he may slide off the bag. And that's what Tejada does. Oh!
Well, his hand came off. Was his foot back on?
No, but when his hand came off, Tejada didn't have the tag on him.
Wow.
Wow.
Now Black behind on Bohr, 3-1, with Furcal on deck, first base open. Tejada standing right behind Marisnick at second base to try and keep him close. And that's outside, ball 4. And now the Marlins have 2 men on. Check out that play at second base one more time.
One more time, please. Okay. Oh, he's out.
Now, was his...
Oh, my goodness.
Was the tag on him right there?
Oh, yes. Oh, smoot now.
Well, that's one that the Mets could have challenged. They still have a challenge. Remember, they got the overturn on the home run, but that was not a challenge. Even if it had been, they would have retained one since they were successful. But it wasn't a challenge. That was umpire's review. In any event, no challenge. And the Marlins have 2 men on. And Furcal coming up. It's interesting with Furcal at the plate in these kinds of situations, because he's got so many weapons in his arsenal. He's got the bunt, the slug bunt. He's hit a couple of balls deep tonight to right field, one off the fence for a triple, another was caught on the warning track, and he scored the only run of this game. But he's always been a rather crafty player at the plate. Missed almost 2 years with Tommy John surgery and then various leg injuries this year.
Big hole for Cal on the left side of the infield between Wright and Tejada.
Wright forced to play in against Furcal, and Tejada keeping an eye on Marisnick, who is certainly a candidate to try to steal third.
A lot of curveballs in the dirt from Black here.
There goes Marisnick, the pitch outside. Recker's throw goes down the line. Marisnick gets up, and he'll trot home with the second Miami run. 2-0 Marlins.
Well, risky play. And a good pitch to throw for Recker, but the throw way inside the line. And that'll be a stolen base and an E2.
David tried his best, but that was just a horrible throw by Recker. So Marisnick steals second on a play where he might have been out, but the Mets did not challenge. He steals third and scores on Recker's throwing error to make it 2-0. Bohr, who was not running on the plate, took second on the error. And now Furcal at the plate with a runner in scoring position and 1 out. Fastball strike, 1-1.
Well, I must say, it's surprising. And Tejada's right on his back. A good throw. He's dead duck.
Running first pitch. The call, selects one foul, and it's 1-2. Black trying to tourniquet this inning. Mets have scored 1 run in the last 39 innings in this ballpark. 2 may be too many. One and two to for call. Breaking ball pulled to the right side. And Murphy makes the play for the second out as Borg goes over to third.
Well, those walks will always kill you.
Still would like to know whether the folks in the Mets video room didn't get a look at that tag at second. I mean, it's late in the game. If they got a look at it, you have to think they would have challenged it, but I guess they didn't get that view in time to be able to make that decision. At least that's the way you'd have to think about it.
Now, with that ground ball, that would be an unearned run if Black gets this out, correct? Here?
That's a good question, Keith.
Because they would have brought the infield in. And here it is again. Now, it looks like the glove's on him. I think
it's hard to tell because, you have to have the side view to know for sure that he had the glove on the arm at the time the hand was off the bag. But curveball misses. It may not have been clear and convincing, but it's the point in the game in the bottom of the seventh where you have to, it's an important enough play that you'd think you'd probably challenge even if you're not 100% sure.
How about Ruben being a little emphatic and pointing to the bench? I tagged him. His hand was off the base. That would get Terry out.
Maybe he wasn't sure. There's a strike to Echeverria, 2-1.
I mean,
there's a different angle.
If you got the tag, Ruben knows. Be emphatic. Point to your bench and say, "Hey, he did tag him."
The thing about it is that we've seen plays reviewed where there's that kind of evidence where they don't overturn.
But as you said, this late in the ball game, it's a big run.
It's probably worthwhile. So if they saw it,
expend your bullet.
The question is, at what point does the guy, Jim Kelly, is the Mets replay coordinator, sitting in the video room, see this happen? From that angle, it certainly looks as though he tagged.
And why doesn't Ruben argue? If Ruben starts arguing with the umpire,
well, it's not even that.
It's going to get Terry out.
Pointing to the bench. That's it. Say, I got him. Challenge. And that usually brings the manager out, and then they kill time for the replay coordinator to have a look at it. Well, that guy, Marisnik, has now come around to score.
Oh.
Two and two to Echeverria, who drove in the first run with a ground out back in the first inning. Giancarlo Stanton would be next. So rather than face the guy who has a chance to blow the doors completely off this game, Black would love to get Echeverria. Moore at third and 2 out. A run home here in the seventh. 2-0 Miami. Black's 20th pitch of the inning. Curveball that sits high, 3-2. 3-2 coming. Echeverria tops one toward third, and White lets it go on by. He was trying to barehand it and was unable to make the connection. A run comes home, and it's 3-0 Miami. Well, with Echeverria running and that ball hit slowly, David thought his only play, I guess, was to try and barehand this ball.
Well, he plays the bag, the long hop, and you just can't barehand. I'm sorry. It's misplayed. You got to go come and get that ball a little quicker. And particularly with David's arm, which has been really suspect of late.
So Bourque comes home with the second run of the inning. Echeverria winds up at second, and why in the world would the Mets pitch to Stanton here? I know McGee has been hot on deck, but
I would pitch to Stanton. He can be pitched to. I would, Gary. I'll tell you why after this pitch. Is that Stanton strikes out a lot. McGee has been the clutch hitter, hitting almost 400 with runners in scoring position. Stanton has far more holes than McGee. It's the right call.
By the way, the play on right is an error all the way. No RBI. They could have scored that differently.
Would they rule it?
They scored an error all the way.
It's got to be an error. You can't assume they're going to beat it out.
Well,
it's a 5-3 on your scorecard. Come on.
The fact that he tried to barehand it, I think, gives it the possibility of being a hit and then an error. Bounce behind the bag. That's a foul ball. David again tried to barehand it.
Well, he knew it was foul.
Yeah, I know.
I think he's more angry at himself.
Well, you can understand his urgency there. You've got a runner at third base. So if you don't make the play, the run's going to score. And I guess he felt his only chance to get Echeverria was to go with the bare hand. Well, he might have been wrong about that, but I'm sure that was his thinking.
He played the long hop, too. He couldn't get a short hop. But there's certain times you're caught in between. You got to play the in-between hop with the guy that can run. It's a huge run that scored. Now, the second run here is a definite unearned run.
Right. Well, if it's an error all the way, then yes. One and two to Stanton, and a fastball rides inside. 2-2.
Just missed in. You saw just a slight movement of Recker's glove inside for the corner.
Lance Barrett, the home plate umpire, didn't buy it. So now it's 2-2 to Stanton, who's 1 for 3 tonight.
Ooh,
a good cut at that fastball.
Boy, oh boy, that was sitting there right there for Stanton to hit, but got 2 strikes on him. Oh boy, he just missed that one. That one had a 2-iron written all over it to right field.
Again, the 2-2 from Black. Another foul ball. Mets have made 2 errors in this inning. Recker's throwing error allowing the first run of the inning to score, and Wright's error allowing the second to come home. There's been only 1 hit.
You got a walk
by Marisnik.
And you got a walk mixed in there.
2-2. And he fouls off the curveball. Our next SNY telecast will be Tuesday night when the Mets get home to play the team with the best record in baseball, Dan Barr's Oakland Athletics.
I am very excited about the Athletics coming to town.
2 very interesting matchups in that game, in that series. Bartolo Colon will face his old team, and Scott Kazmir will pitch the other game against his old franchise.
I am anxious to take a look at these Athletics.
They've been phenomenal. 45 and 28 coming in tonight. 2-2, and Stanton goes down on strikes. Recker will just watch him walk away, and that's the end of the inning. But a damaging inning for the Mets. 2 errors lead to 2 unearned runs, and the Marlins lead 3-0 after 7.
Baseball to football, partnering with the New York Jets to help local football youth leagues with equipment donations, clinics, and Jets game experiences. The deadline for application is next Friday, June 27th. If you know a local youth football league in need, apply today at facebook.com/SNY.
Kevin Gregg is celebrating his 36th birthday today and pitching his 2nd straight game after the Marlins called him up. Signed a minor league deal a couple of weeks ago, rushed up into the big leagues, and now trying to protect a 3-0 lead in the 8th. Chris Young pinch hitting for Vic Black leads off for the Mets in the 8th inning. If you are interested in such things, one of the runs charged to Vic Black in the 7th is an earned run.
That's what I thought.
I guess they said the ground out would have scored Marisnik from 3rd.
Well, the infield would have been in, and so it's to me, I would have been.
But that's got to be the figure, and that's why they ruled one of the runs earned. David Wright's error after Anthony Recker's error brought in the 2nd run of the inning, and that one is unearned.
See, I would have ruled. I don't know what the rule is on that.
Well, it's really the official scorer's discretion.
Discretion, right? Infield's in, ground ball right at the second baseman.
Yeah, but
then that would have held the runner.
He might have tried to score on contact.
Well, the ball was hit pretty hard.
Or it might have gotten through a run in infield.
I know, so that's a tough call for the scorer. For me, I would have ruled them both unearned runs.
Chris Young started last night, had a double in 4 trips. Eric Young on deck, and then Daniel Murphy in the 8th. Mets have 7 hits tonight, but no runs. Mets have left 5 runners on base. They've hit into 2 double plays.
Well, Mike Redmond said that when they called up Kevin Gregg, that they were going to throw him into the setup role, the 8th inning bridge to the closer, and they're doing it tonight.
Gregg was with the Cubs last year. With Kansas City in spring training this year, they let him go, and he was out there available to anybody until early June when the Marlins signed him to a minor league deal. He was their closer back in 07 and 08, so he's got some experience in this town, if not in this ballpark.
He's had a
And he misses inside, so after getting ahead 0-2, he walks Chris Young. And the Mets have a leadoff base runner. Let's head to the studio. Eamon McEnany standing by for another game break, brought to you by the New York State Smokers Quit Line. Okay, Eamon. Now it's Eric Young, who's 0 for 3 tonight.
Well, walks first. Leadoff walks always find a way of scoring.
And Eric trying to punt for a base hit and fouls it off.
You got a guy that's closed most of his career, as you Gary said, and Greg. 177 saves over his major league. This is his 12th year in the big leagues now. Kevin Gregg.
He's become more of a sinker ball pitcher as he's gotten a little older.
Still got that splitter. It's his signature pitch.
Chris Young at first, Eric Young at the plate, and that misses low and in, 1-1. Well, this is interesting. They have changed the scoring on the David Wright error on Echeverria's ball. They didn't change it to a single and an error. They changed it to a double. So no error on Wright. So it's an RBI for Echeverria.
Wow.
Now that's wrong. I mean, you can say that Echeverria could have beaten it out and scored a single and then give Wright an error, allowing him to get to second. But I don't think you can score that a double.
Well, they have.
That's silly.
Echeverria is very happy.
I'm sure he is. Pulled toward the hole, base hit for Eric Young. So back-to-back Young base hits. And the Mets have the table set in the 8th with Murphy and Wright coming up. So Kevin Gregg, who in his first outing for the Marlins pitched a 1-2-3 inning last night, not so fortunate tonight. A walk and a single, and the Mets have 2 men on.
Nice hitting. Nice situational hitting. Get the ball, a pitch out over the plate. It's easy to pull.
So here's Murphy looking to cash it in, tying run at the plate in a 3-0 game. Murphy is 2 for 3, and a single to left, a single to center against Henderson Alvarez, then fly to center his last time up. Chris Young at second, Eric Young at first, nobody out, and Murphy pops one foul. That'll come back toward the seats and out of play. Mike Dunn gets up in the Miami bullpen. Wright is on deck, but behind him are 3 left-hand hitters in a row: Granderson, Abreu, and Duda. Dunn is the only lefty in Mike Redmond's bullpen.
No, the Mets have the right guys up.
And Murphy fouls one off his leg. 0-2.
Boy, he sawed him off there. This is called a slider way off the plate, and you don't want to swing at it. Oh, it's off his shin. That hurts. That's a lot of bone there, too. That's not a good spot.
Gregg ahead on Murphy, 0-2. And Daniel watches outside. They've gone to the 9th in Washington. Braves 4, Nationals 2. Game for first place in the NL East. Chris Young at second, Eric Young at first, the 1-2. And it misses inside, 2-2 to Murphy. With David Wright waiting on deck. Three and 2.
He can't get his splitter over. He's in big trouble. He's not even close with his splitter, and that's his out pitch. So he's got to come with the El Chizo here.
Well, for the second time in this inning, he's gone from 0-2 to 3-2, and Murphy yanks one foul.
Oh, nice play. Terrific
bring your glove.
Backhand.
Good extension.
Very good, sir.
Three-two coming to Murphy. Popped it foul. And Murph hanging in there.
Well, he can't walk him here. He puts the bases loaded. He's got to go after Murph.
Look at the Mets' recent futility at Marlins Park. They were shut out twice in the series back in May. They've scored 1 run in 2 games so far in this series. Looking to put an end to that. 3-2. Murphy pops it up. The infield fly rule will be called. The batter is out. And it's in the glove of McGee.
And they jam Murph again, up and in. When Murph gets beat, he falls back on his back foot. Watch. And he almost arches his back almost because he's beaten. He's mad. He's angry. Inside out. Got beat. It happens.
So here's David Wright. David has the Mets' only extra base hit tonight. He drove a double to right center his last time up.
Big spot.
David's got 2 home runs in the last 3 games. He's the tying run at the plate. He's 3 for 10 in his career against Kevin Gregg. And takes a fastball for a strike. McGee looking in the dugout.
They're going to have him guard the line. I agree. You don't want any doubles here. The guy at the plate is the tying run.
Right.
Yeah, just keeping the ball away. Gregg thought he had a strike there. It was close.
Curtis Granderson on deck, almost certain that he'll be facing Mike Dunn.
Furcal should not even pay attention to Young at second base. He should cover that hole. You see the defense where they've got first base over there and Baker off the line. I would rather move the second baseman over a little bit. Forget that runner. He's not going anywhere. Play more straight up and allow your first baseman to cover that line a little bit more.
David drives one into center field. That's down for a base hit. Chris Young around third. He'll score. Eric Young goes to third. David Wright with an RBI single, and the Mets are on the board. 3-1 Miami, and the tying runs are on base. Well, David Wright, these last few days showing signs that he's back in it.
And it's a ball away, Gary, that he hits. Gets some solid contact too. Pitch that's going to give him trouble. Chris Young knows it's in all the way. Eric Young going first to third. He's quick, and wisely Marisnick throws behind Young. Young is not the go-ahead or tying run.
So not a very good happy birthday performance for Kevin Gregg on his 36th birthday. He will exit, and Mike Dunn will come into the game to face the left-handers with Granderson, Abreu, and Duda coming up. Mets have finally struck here in Miami, down 3-1 and with a chance as Dunn comes in. We'll be right back.
that Dan Uggla trade when Uggla went over to the Braves back in the offseason of 2010-11, first year with Florida, and was in 11. He's always had difficulty getting lefties out, can be a little wild, a hard thrower.
The only lefty in that bullpen. He'll face Granderson for the first time. Tying runs on base, and Curtis takes the slider out of the strike zone. Granderson 1 for 3, had a single to right in the fourth, hit one to the warning track in right field. His last time up that was caught. A walk to Chris Young as a pinch hitter. Eric Young with a base hit, and after Murphy popped up, David Wright drove in the Mets' first run of the night, his 37th RBI of the year. Tying runs aboard for Granderson. And Curtis takes wide, and it's 2-0.
2 sliders, 2 misses. 2-0. Lefties in to get a lefty out. Not in to walk him. Nice fastball here.
Walks have always been an issue for Dunn. Over his career, he's averaged nearly 5 walks per 9 innings. And Granderson takes it inside. Now it's 3-0. Well, we've seen Curtis hit 2 home runs this year on 3-0 pitches.
I don't think he's getting one here.
He had never done it before in his career.
This has got to be a take here. Although Terry likes to roll the dice, I would not give him the hit sign. Ball 4 puts the tying run on scoring position.
And that's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So Dunn comes in and walks his first batter on 4 pitches. The second walk in the inning after the starter Alvarez didn't walk anybody. So now the tying runs are in scoring position. The potential go-ahead run is at first, and we're going to get a pinch hitter. Eric Campbell is going to bat for Bobby Abreu. Now, if you're Mike Redmond, you could bring a right-hander to the game, but then you'd have to have that righty face Duda. So he's got to stay with Dunn. So there's a terrific move by Terry Collins. Eric Young at third, Wright at second, Granderson at first. Mets down 3-1 in the 8th. Campbell 4 for 9 as a pinch hitter. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Campbell lays off the slider, ball 1.
Geez, 5 straight balls. This is right here spotlighted. Relievers, first outs. First batter outs. Got to get that first batter. Guys aren't used to coming in with men on base. Used to starting innings. It's a whole different ball of wax.
That's 6 in a row out of the strike zone, and Saltalamacchia is going to run it back out to Dunn. And the pitching coach Chuck Hernandez will come out to join the conversation.
Archie Bell and the Drells.
The inning began with Kevin Gregg on the mound. He walked Chris Young as a pinch hitter. Eric Young singled into right. And then with 1 out, David Wright singled to drive in a run. Dunn has come in and thrown 6 straight balls to Granderson and Campbell. So Eric in a great spot here. Mets have 9 hits tonight. They need 1 big one. Duda waiting on deck. Wright's the tying run at second. Granderson the potential go-ahead run at first. (2-0) coming to Campbell. And he takes a strike on the outside corner.
Another good pitch to lay off if you're the knee-high outside corner pitcher's pitch.
(29-year-old) Mike Dunn, the 4th Marlins pitcher of the night. 2-1 coming. Campbell swings through the fastball, 2-2.
Good rip. It's a little tardy.
(2-2). Campbell wastes away the fastball. dialing it up.
Dunn is just upstairs, rearing back, and this is what his problem is, throwing as hard as he can, and he's getting the ball up. He can get hurt.
Well, he's a strikeout pitcher, and he needs a strikeout right now. He's averaged over 10 strikeouts per 9 innings this year. Two to Campbell. Up and away, full count.
Well, here you go.
Well, Eric's first major league plate appearance was with the bases loaded with a sacrifice fly, his first time up in the majors. That's what settled for that, but they'd love the base hit. They could at least tie up the ballgame.
Marisnick and Stanton very shallow. Stanton is extremely shallow.
Bases loaded, 3-2 coming to Campbell. Hit hard, base hit. Here comes Young to score. Wright being waved around third. Ozuna's throw to the plate. It's a good one, and Wright is out at the plate. Mets get a run to cut it to 3-2, but Wright is gunned down on a perfect one-hop strike from Marcell Ozuna.
Well, I have not seen enough of Ozuna. They're arguing here, and they're going to appeal, or
well, the question would have to be about
the tag. It'd be a bad tag. Nice hitting, number one, by Campbell. Strong, accurate throw from Ozuna, and doesn't overthrow the cutoff man.
And did he block the plate too soon?
Oh, he's out.
Well, but the way that the rule is written, Saltalamacchia was blocking the plate before he had the ball.
But he's got to catch the ball.
I'm telling you,
it's
Keith,
silly.
this is the way the rule is written. His left foot was blocking the plate before he had the ball, and they might overturn this.
If they do, this is absurd.
I totally agree with you. I think it's a ridiculous call if that's what they do, but by rule he cannot have his foot where it was before he had the ball, and he did, and that's what the Mets are challenging, I'm sure.
So Saltalamacchia, if he's going to have both feet inside the line, he's going to have, with a catcher's glove, make a backhand.
This rule has created so much controversy over the course of this season. We saw a play called against the Pirates, which Major League Baseball has since said was not the right call, on a forced play at the plate where Russell Martin was called for blocking.
Look, at 3/4 of his body, more than 3/4 of his body is inside the line. This is absurd if they overturn this. I'm sorry.
Now, is there any question that he tagged him in time?
Oh, he got him, and he got him in the
tummy. I don't think there's any question about that, is there?
I mean, keep the lawyers out of this game, please.
Well, if the Mets get this call, it will be a tie ball game, and it will have further shown that this rule has got to be fixed, because that's crazy if they do overturn it. Mets will take it for sure if that's the way it goes, but we'll wait and see.
I mean, I'm being impartial here. We're supposed to be impartial. I know you Met fans want it turned over, but this is absurd if they overturn this.
Of course it is. Now let's see. They call him out. Okay, so they did not overturn the call.
I agree. My goodness.
Well, it's been a source of great controversy from the time that this plate block rule was put in place, and I'm not sure what they're going to do with this rule, but obviously there have to be changes. Here, they did not overturn the plate.
Well, it was the right call. I mean, if Saltalamacchia had his foot in fair territory, both feet, he's got to catch it with a backhand with a catcher's mitt, which is difficult. He had one foot there where he can make a good solid catch and make the tag, and that's fair. I mean, it was the right call not to overturn it.
So now Wilmer Flores will bat, tying run at second, go-ahead run at first. Mets down 3-2. 2 runs home here in the 8th inning, and Flores pops the first one foul. Let's backtrack a moment, talk about the at-bat for Campbell, who did a terrific job getting that pinch hit to drive in a run.
Yes, he did, and he got the battle to a full count. And the throw from Ozuna, I didn't realize he had that strong an arm. That was right on the money.
Well, these 3 outfield arms are probably the best set of outfield arms of any trio in the game. Quickly 0-2 to Flores, who's had very few at-bats of late.
Well, this is just a really strong throw. One hop, easy for the catcher. Nicely done, young man.
I'll be interested to hear more about what the precise ruling was from New York. But when they made the ruling, they must have felt as though Saltalamacchia gave Wright enough of a lane to the back of the plate. Swing and a miss. Dunn takes care of Flores on 3 pitches. Mets get a couple, but still a run behind. Eric Campbell comes through with a big RBI hit. Ozuna guns down right at the plate with a tying run to keep the Marlins in front. Single stays in the game at first base. Chris Young, who pinch hit, stays in center. Curtis Granderson moves from center field to right. And Jay Reese Familia will come on to pitch for the Mets in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, Jay Reese has just been phenomenal. And I'm not taking anything away from Henry Mejia. I think down the road, this young man is going to be the future closer for this team. He's got too good an arm. He showed me enough where he's been in trouble, Gary. He's got guts. He's come back and got people. He's gotten over his jitters, his wildness. He's got dynamite stuff.
Pitched Tuesday night in St. Louis in his most recent outing, a scoreless 8th inning. He'll come in to face Casey McGee leading off in the bottom of the 8th here. Well, this was a 1-0 game going to the bottom of the 7th. Mets committed an error, were charged with another that was changed, and gave up 2 runs in the 7th. They got those runs back in the 8th, but Ozuna threw out the tying run at the plate. Now McGee leading off the home 8th, and that one sails inside. We've seen Familia do that before with his first pitch, just be totally out of control with his first offering. It has resulted in a couple of wild pitches for Jay Reese when he's come in with men on base.
Yes. That's why I like him closing and starting an inning.
McGee, Saltalamacchia, and Baker up for the Marlins in the home 8th. McGee 1 for 3 tonight. And takes a rip at a 97-mile-an-hour sinker, 1-1. When you're talking about good stuff, that's it right there.
Well, he's got a great arm, and you know what? He's got one of those rubber arms too, like a Pedro Borbon and Joaquin Andujar. They love to throw.
2-1 to McGee. Well, the Marlins closer, Steve Cishek, in ready for a save chance. They'll be facing the bottom of the Mets batting order. Recker, Tejada, and Chris Young due up. Mets still have Kirk Neuenhuis sitting in the dugout as a potential pinch hitter. McGee hits one toward the middle. Tejada flashes over, has to throw from his knees. Got him! What a play by Ruben Tejada. When he stumbled over, it looked like he had lost a chance for the play, but he makes a brilliant throw from his knees to get McGee. Mike Redmond will come out, and we'll see whether the Marlins decide to challenge.
Well, terrific play here. A lot of range to his left. Just a terrific throw and off balance from his knees. What a play.
Mike Redmond has already given up any thought of challenging after his guys saw the replay. So a spectacular play by Tejada to start the bottom of the 8th. And it appeared he got him by the width of a foot. Here's Saltalamacchia, 2 doubles and 3 trips. And the Mets put on the full shift against him. Daisuke Matsuzaka went 5 1/3, allowed 1 run, 6 hits. He was terrific again today. Josh Edgett got a big double play. Vic Black charged with the 2 runs in the 7th. And now Familia trying to keep it a 1-run game and give the Mets a shot in the 9th. Drive around the majors brought to you by Honda. It's a slugfest in Colorado tonight. The Brewers got 3 runs in the first inning, and they were off and running. They're up 7-6 in the 4th. Segura has 2 home runs in that game for the Brewers. The Rays continue to falter. David Price struck out 12, but the Astros win 3-1, and the Nationals have tied up the Braves 4-4 on an Anthony Rendon home run in the 9th. They're now in the 10th. 2-1 to Saltalamacchia. Jeff Baker, who pinch hit in the 6th and stayed in the game at first base, is now on deck. And now Familia behind 3-1. Out to left, hit well. Eric Young drifting back, and he gets there for the 2nd out. So 2 out. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Chrysler. Visit your local dealer today for great deals on the entire stylish lineup, including the Chrysler 200. By Cholula Hot Sauce, the hot sauce with the iconic wooden cap, available in original flavor, chili lime, chili garlic, and chipotle. And by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on the most exciting lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. Here's Jeff Baker up for the 2nd time. Baker came up with 1st and 3rd and 1 out in the 6th inning against Josh Edgett. Got ahead in the count 2-0, and then grounded into a 4-6-3 double play that helped the Mets out. That is the only double play the Mets have turned tonight, after 2 straight games where the Mets turned 3 double plays. They turned 3 in the last game in St. Louis, and then 3 more last night.
The Mets have never had 3 consecutive games in their history of turning a double play.
3 in a game.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very unusual anyway.
Last time they'd had back-to-back games of 3 double plays was 2009. So it hadn't happened in a while.
It doesn't happen all the time.
Just missed 1-2. Well, you have to have enough base runners against you.
That's
and you
true.
have to have brilliance on your infield.
Yes.
That's helpful. Ground ball pitchers help too. 1-2 to Baker. Got him with a slider. So a 1-2-3 inning for Familia, helped out by a brilliant defensive play on the part of Ruben Tejada. It'll be Record, Tejada, and Young to bat in the ninth. Mets down 3-2 in Miami. Out, and Major League Baseball provided the angle that they use. It's an overhead camera, and you see Saltalamacchia blocking the plate, but not all of it.
Right.
So the rule is that he has to give the runner a lane, and I guess they figured that he gave him enough of a lane to slide in that he was not guilty of blocking the plate. So the Mets remain behind by a run as they bat in the ninth against Steve Cishek. Kirk Neuenhuis will pinch hit for Anthony Recker, and he takes a breaking ball low and in for ball one.
Well, Cishek now, this is his third year they've had him closing. Since 2013, he has been successful in 50 of 53.
Neuenhuis just back from the minor leagues yesterday, swapped out for Matt Dendecker, who was sent back down. Dendecker had not been hitting, and it's really the way it's gone with players the Mets have called up this year. They've come up hot, they've had a couple of good games, and then they've cooled down. Neuenhuis back for the second time, and he takes a strike, 2-1.
Well, one thing I've seen from Cishek is that anybody that's a submariner is going to have trouble with the left-hander, right-hander, a submariner. He's pitched inside to lefties a lot. And you just can't live off the outside corner. One of the guys that did it in my day was Tekulve. Ken Tekulve was his closer for the Pirates those years. Had terrific seasons for Pittsburgh.
2-2 to Neuenhuis, batting for Recker. Tejada on deck, and Kirk takes a slider at his feet. 3-2.
Good eye.
Well, the Mets got a leadoff walk to Chris Young in the eighth inning. That led to a couple of runs. Neuenhuis looking to get aboard to start the ninth with the Mets down a run.
Going to run the sinker away.
3-2 to Neuenhuis. And he drives one to deep right field. Stanton goes back, and he can't make the catch. It's one hop to the wall. Neuenhuis to second base for the leadoff double. And the Mets have the tying run in scoring position with nobody out.
Well, finally the Marlins got caught. Stanton loves to play shallow. You got a one-run lead, no doubles. This ball's a rocket. He's playing deeper than he normally does. Actually, he wasn't playing that shallow. This ball's just ripped.
The Mets getting big production from their pinch hitters tonight. Chris Young walked as a pinch hitter. Eric Campbell singled to drive in a run as a pinch hitter, and now Neuenhuis doubles to lead off the ninth as a pinch hitter. Ruben Tejada's just had a long conversation with Tim Tuffle. We'll see how the Mets play it here. Normally you don't play for the tying run on the road.
I would play for the tying run here. I would, with the Submariner and Tejada up, I would bunt him over and go against the rule.
You got Chris Young, another right-hand batter on deck, and you're out of left-hand hitters.
And you've only got Teagarden on the bench.
I don't know. It's a tough call. Corners are in. Tejada 0 for 2 in his career against Cishek. They're looking for the bunt. And he shows it, but lays off ball one. Well, Steve Cishek's been pretty good against the rest of the league, but the Mets have had his number. He's got 3 blown saves and 9 opportunities against the Mets. And he's working with a 1-run margin here. Mets have 11 hits. They need at least 1 more. And again, Tejada lays off, and it's 2-0.
Cishek's really overthrowing.
Chris Young hitting 9th in the order on deck. Behind him is Eric Young. Tejada swinging, and he fouls it off.
I like that idea. 2-0. Get a pitch to hit. Let's see if he goes back to bunting. You're going to bunt him for the first 2 pitches. You got to bunt him here.
Rubin had a base hit in the 5th inning, but he grounded into a double play his last time up. Neuenhuis at second and nobody out. And Rubin gets the bunt down. Baker will go to first with it. And now the tying run is on third. 3-4 on the sacrifice. And now the Mets are a fly ball away from tying the game.
Well done, Rubin. Down low, level bat, out in front. Beautiful.
Coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night after the post game, Chris Carlin talking Knicks. And he's heading to medieval times. Chris Carlin and Mutton, that's quite a combination.
Would you squeeze here with a struggling Chris Young?
You know what? I haven't seen Chris Young bunt enough to know if he's that kind of guy.
You got to defensively, it's got to be in the back of your mind.
Infield is in. Tying run at third. Chris Young takes a slider for a strike. Young walked as a pinch hitter, leading off in the 8th. Now with a chance to get the tying run home in the 9th. Neuenhuis at third and 1 out. And Chris pops one foul, and now it's 0-2.
2 strikes right now, Gary. You're going to be vulnerable inside, and you've just got to bear down. You've got a submariner, righty-righty. You've got to fight off the inside pitch. You've got to go up the middle.
Cishek needing a strikeout. This is with a slider, 1 and 2. You saw how difficult it's been for Chris. Just 4 out of 13 getting a runner home from third with less than 2 out. Eric Young is on deck. Cishek 40 strikeouts in 31 innings this year.
Good eye.
This is with another slider, and it's 2-2.
Just missed. Tough one to lay off. Good eye.
Two. 3 sliders in a row off the plate, and Chris Young, as he did his last time up, going from 0-2 to 3-2. He wound up drawing the walk against Kevin Gregg. Now he's got a full count against Cishek with the tying run on third. Eric Young on deck. 3-2 from Cishek. And a fly ball left field. That'll get the run in. Neuenhuis tags at third. Ozuna makes the catch. Ozuna sails one home, and he is out at the plate, and the ball game is over.
Oh my!
An unbelievable throw by Ozuna, who threw out the tying run at the plate in the 8th, and does the same in the 9th, and the Marlins win it 3-2 on the arm of Marcell Ozuna. A spectacular finish for the Miami Marlins. The Mets are asking for the play to be reviewed at the plate, so we're not quite done yet. On a night of reviews and non-reviews, we'll get one more.
Look how he gets his weight going forward. Perfect. He never touched the plate. He's out. He's out.
No. Was he tagged?
Yes, he was.
You sure?
Yes.
Let's see.
Oh, yes.
Are you sure?
Well, you can't tell there.
Well, I didn't see him tag him.
You're not.
And now the umpires say that the play is confirmed, and so the ball game is over.
What a throw with a guy like Neuenhuis who can run.
And there he is. Does appear to tag him.
What a finish.
Well, Ozuna was wonderful with a great one-hop strike to get right at the plate in the 8th inning to keep the tying run off the board. And then on a ball that certainly appeared to be deep enough to get Neuenhuis home with the tying run, Ozuna does it again and guns him down to end the ball game.
Unbelievable throw. He's way back there, and Neuenhuis can fly.
On the fly to Saltalamacchia.
And Saltalamacchia in the same position he was in the prior play, Gary.
And the umpires confirming the out call at the plate. And the Marlins secure the 3-2 win to even up this series at a game apiece. Cishek thought for sure he had just given up the tying run. And able to celebrate a miraculous play by his left fielder, who had as good a defensive last 2 innings as you can have, with 2 outfield assists, twice throwing out the tying run, trying to score.
Well, I tell you what, we talked about the arms in this outfield, but Ozuna was probably the bottom of the list. But I tell you what, now that raised some eyebrows. Wow.
Well, the Mets waste another terrific performance by Daisuke Matsuzaka, who went 5 1/3 and allowed 1 run and winds up taking his first loss since early last September, as the Marlins get 6 1/3 strong innings out of Henderson Alvarez and survive a couple of plays at the plate to hang on and beat the Mets 3-2. Marcell Ozuna getting all of his body behind this throw on the fly to Saltalamacchia. And he guns down the speedy Neuenhuis to end the game. And the Marlins hang on for a 3-2 win over the Mets. What a finish. 3-2 Miami the final. We'll be back with more from Marlins Park in a moment.